Okay. Chico.
Song of politics, not a song of parties, not a song of power. This is a prayer for fathers and mothers, for workers and soldiers, for the young and for the old, for every heart searching for hope. When nations are troubled, when people are divided, when fear grows louder than faith, there is still one who reigns above it all. So tonight, we pray! From the mountains to the oceans, from the cities to the plains, many hearts are growing weary, many souls are filled with pain. We have chased 1,000 answers, searching everywhere but you. Now we stand before your mercy. Lord, we need your truth. God save America, turn our hearts again. God save America, let revival rise within. Heal the broken, lead the lost, bring us to our knees. God save America. Lord, have mercy, please. God, the children of this nation, guide them through the darkest days. Give them courage, give them wisdom, keep them walking in your ways. Bless the fathers and the mothers, strengthen every weary hand. Let your light shine through the darkness, heal this wounded land. God save America, turn our hearts again. God save America, let revival rise within. Heal the broken, lead the lost, bring us to our knees. God save America. Lord, have mercy, please. Not by power, not by might, but by your spirit, bring us back to life. Not by riches, not by fame, but by the glory of your holy name. Though kingdoms rise and kingdoms fall, your throne stands forever above them all. God save America, lift your banner high. God save America, hear your people cry. Send your mercy, send your grace, let your fire descend. God save America, and draw us back again. When the night is long, be our light. When hope grows weak, be our strength. When fear surrounds us, be our peace. And when we lose our way, lead us home. God save America! God save America! God save America! Amen.
Has anyone actually?
In 76, by candles light, a handful of men signing names to the fight. Everything they had, their fortunes, their lives, on a dream that a free land could arise. Muskets in the cold, the drum and the fife, they bled for a country they'd never see thrive. 250 years, and we're still standing tall. Red, white, and blue, flying over us all. And I'm proud, Lord, I'm proud of this ground where I stand, of the blood and the fire that built this land. Land that I love. Thank God I'm still free. 250 years, and she still belongs to me. Bunker Hill. Every generation paid the bill.
Yep. It's getting cold, windy here.
Normandy sand to a desert sun. They carried that flag till the fight was won. Torn and burned, but it never came down. Stitched back together and raised over town. 250 years, and we're still standing tall. Red, white, and blue, flying over us all. And I'm proud, Lord, I'm proud of this ground where I stand, of the blood and the fire that built this land. Land that I love. Thank God I'm still free. 250 years, and she still belongs to me. Now the drums come alive on the 4th of July. Blue thunder roaring across the sky. The jets tear over the crowd below. Same stars those founders watched long ago. Fireworks bursting a million strong. The whole nation singing the same old song. Like the biggest sky the world has ever known. 800,000 stars, and nobody's alone. Cannons and fireworks, the flag rolling high. The eagle climbing through the 4th of July. Grandmas and soldiers, the young and the old, hand over heart for the red, white, and gold. 250 years, and we're still standing tall. Red, white, and blue, flying over us all. And I'm proud, Lord, I'm proud of this ground where I stand. God bless the fire that built this land. Land that I love. I'll always stand for Nobody left behind.
Okay, I got one more, you guys. One more.
Customize.
From Maine to the bayou line, every porch got scars and shine. We've seen the flood and the dust, held our heads up through the rust. Not always pretty, not always kind, so we kept that spark alive. Storm clouds came, the fields ran dry. Some nights we asked the reason why, but we stood and we stayed, found a way, then found another way. 50 states strong, still standing here, through the tears and the cheers. 50 states strong, heart and hand, we keep on building this land. Happy birthday, America. Happy birthday, America. Boys went off to fight afar, some came back with broken stars. Wars at home and wars overseas. We learned to bend like old oak trees. Not everyone passed, but we kept faith through the past. We argued hard, we split the room, then we found a common tune. A table set, a door left wide, different voices same inside. 50 states strong, still standing here, through the tears and the cheers. 50 states strong, heart and hand, we keep on building this land. Happy birthday, America. Happy birthday, America. From storms to drought, from hope to fear, we've carried on through every year. A dream still waits on a front porch light, for the ones who rise and fight, for the ones who choose to try, under the same white sky. 50 states strong, still standing here, through the tears and the cheers. 50 states strong, heart and hand, we keep on building this land. Happy birthday, America. Happy birthday, America.
Okay, God bless America, our troops, our best first lady and president, the past and the future, and the first responders, and everybody else. Oh, Chico. So yeah, Maria, you're the only one in so far. So we had the biggest show of the year, you guys. I got over 500 yesterday, and I got a few more subs, so I need about 26 more to get to 2,000 subs. So appreciate all the support. We're gonna be here till the end until this movie ever ends. But I accomplished what I thought I would do over a million. I got 10 other channels and everything. So glad that we're getting more people back. But yeah, what a show yesterday. Yep. Tell the end of the movie. Oh, Victor, it's been a while. Have you been lurking? I remember you. Tim and or Clara. Been a while for you also. We've been getting a lot of good intel out this past month, you guys. So I'm trying my best to get everything out. I'm gonna try to keep it at 3 to 7 every day. That's like almost 4 hours. Thanks, Victor. Yep, been a long journey. Thanks for having up. We got a lot of big support. Channel. I wish Nurse 22 and Norma would come back, Maria, my old sponsors. But after Ashley died, they weren't. They just changed. So wish they would come back. But thanks for the. We only got four mods. We're doing good with 4 mods. Okay, Lucy and Fine Eagle and Carol. So today we got another big lineup. We got Captain Kyle and Robert from Saturday night. They do every Saturday. It's only an hour. They finally cut it back down to an hour. They normally go 2 hours, but it's only an hour. And then we got Billy Bean. Her first one's going to be 28 minutes. I got two other big ones I want to share, plus all the other good stuff. So, but thanks for the new subs I got this week. I think I got a few extra subs this week. But yeah, I just don't want to overdo myself. I think 3 to 7 will be good, or 6:30, 3.5. Try to stay away from the long ones, but the big ones we have to play. And we got a couple Benny's and Trisha's and all the regular other ones. Lucy, Mom, where are you? AKA, I don't know if Angel's working today or out in the woods. I'll wait another minute here. Not quite through yet. I'm going to show some clips of Trump at the racetrack. They had that racetrack race. I think it starts right now. I think it's on now. So we will. I'll get all these all lined up. They're short clips. I got a bunch of them. I don't know how they're going to be in order or not. But we're going to go ahead and get started. And there's Jose. This is Dime. We're doing a lot of short clips here at the beginning of Trump at the racetrack. There's the flyby. Let's go see. I'll play it again.
And the home of the
Just hold your belt, shake it.
A minute and a half.
With us after greeting the drivers, the motorcade. Elio, if you had to drive the beast, I wonder with those. I guess those guys. I don't know how fast they have to go. In the movies, we see them like tearing
doing everything right.
Yeah.
So I think it's a little bit heavy, in terms of how fast you want to go. But no question. Well, Danica knows more about the beast because you said there was some story that they're armored and they have all this.
Well, I've ridden
things.
with Secret Service detail I'm friends with a few people in DC, and I was asking the drivers about Secret Service, about their experience, if they get special training, if the car is souped up, is it extra fast? And essentially, the car is really just heavier and safer, but when they try and add horsepower and do those things to it, it kind of makes other things fail. But as drivers, really, their protection as Secret Service is that the car is bulletproof and hard to beat.
In Brazil, believe it or not, because of the safety down there, most of the people have a bulletproof cars. I mean, it's sad.
Do you have a bulletproof car?
I have a bulletproof car, yes.
Wow, you have that many enemies, huh? They're going about what? I don't know, 50 miles per hour
Very
here.
slow.
They're going to take about 7 laps. We saw the history of presidential cars. No country, though, has a car culture quite like ours.
Okay, I got one more. All right, that's from today's race there. First time there, I believe. So we're going to start off with short videos like we normally do. I got Cat Lady somewhere. 2 of them. I got a few short Doug videos from yesterday. My computer went off.
Over sex.
Will you denounce Sharia law?
They say yes. A conservative
3 minutes.
Christian pastor has had enough. This footage is going all around the internet today, and I just want to say praise the Lord to this guy that we have these kinds of pastors, not some watered down kind of pastor that you're used to. He goes to city council, tears into them, holds all of the leadership to account, literally pins them down in Michigan and says, will you denounce Sharia law? This is why blacks are not going to go for Abdul El Sayed in Michigan.
But you're only 1% of this nation. We are not a nation of Muslims. We are a nation of Christians. We are one nation under God, indivisible, the God of the Bible, the God of the Lord Jesus Christ.
Do you believe it? Do you believe it? Let me know in the chat.
That's the God in whom we serve. I want you to prove to me we're not up under Sharia law. Will you denounce, Councilman O'Reilly? Will you denounce Sharia law? Will you denounce Sharia law?
They say yes.
Will you denounce? I know you won't. Will
I know
you
you
denounce
won't.
Sharia law? Abraham, you went to Hillsdale. Will you renounce Sharia law?
Whoa, they got someone on Hillsdale College on that city council. That's they will denounce Sharia law.
Will you renounce Sharia law? America, we have lost this city. This is a city that is no longer up under American laws. We are up under Sharia law, and we will not have it anymore. Enough is enough.
And they tried to cut his microphone. He goes, we lost this city. We lost this city. Now, this is about the fight in the Democrat Party where they're about to lose every Jewish donor. Jews would be a lunatic to vote for them. Trump has said it before and they didn't listen to him. Now they have a party that is for defending all violence against Jews and will not defend Jews. They're going to lose this election in Michigan over guys like Abdul El Sayed, whom Chuck Schumer is trying to protect. Watch this.
Let me get this right. I prosecuted the case against Kristi Noem for her to be removed.
That's the Democrat, okay? He is pro-Israel because he's Jewish, and he's realizing his party is about to lose the fall elections because of guys like Abdul El Sayed and hating Israel.
My district will be one of those districts that decide whether Hakeem Jeffries, the first black speaker in American history, gets to be speaker. But because of Israel, they're willing to give up winning the House.
That's a white guy telling a black guy, a white Democrat telling a black Democrat, we're about to lose our first black speaker of the House over Israel.
Well, first of all, you're talking about a segment within the party. I don't represent the DSA.
I know you don't.
I'm just telling you.
You seem to be their representative.
No, but I feel like somebody should be, because I think that the fact that they keep winning elections across the country should tell us something.
Win in my district.
That they're winning. So listen, we should start paying attention.
He says we should start paying attention to them because they're winning elections. I'm Doug in exile.
Okay, that was one, but I don't know where the other ones are at. Keep doing the short ones here. This one, 2.5.
To fund the Civil War. 5 days after the war ended, he went to Ford's Theater. President McKinley supported the gold standard, while others favored a central bank with a flexible currency. It wasn't long before an anarchist was led into his rally. 3 business titans allegedly opposed the creation of an American central bank. They all took an unsinkable ship owned by J.P. Morgan. He was supposed to go with them, but canceled last minute. That ship was called the Titanic, and the Federal Reserve was founded the next year. Senator Huey Long rallied against the Fed and tried to cap America's wealth. He was shot inside Louisiana's capital. His gunman was killed instantly, with no autopsy, lost evidence, and conflicting ballistics. Congressman Louis McFadden accused the Federal Reserve of high treason for causing the Great Depression. He collapsed after a banquet.
You guys think of this
The official
one?
story? Heart attack. JFK signed an executive order giving the Treasury power to issue silver certificates and bypass Fed-issued notes. You know how this ends. Congressman Larry McDonald, a fierce critic of all global banking elites, boarded Korean Airlines Flight 007. The plane accidentally veered into Soviet airspace. All 269 souls died, and Moscow held the black boxes for a decade before releasing edited data. Thomas Sankara, president of Burkina Faso, rejected IMF and World Bank loans. Shortly after, he was assassinated in a coup. His successor immediately took the loans. By the year 2001, very few countries didn't have Western-controlled central banks. Afghanistan and Iraq were 2 of them. All they needed was an excuse. The ruler of Libya, Gaddafi, proposed a gold-backed African dinar to replace the dollar for oil. NATO intervened in Libya's civil war, and Gaddafi was killed. Libya got a new central bank.
Clapper.
Okay, that was a new one there. Ah. Five minutes.
I came up. I just got McDonald's.
You can add me on a missing charcoal.
Be done.
This was
I get that, but I'm asking how you got to this new dollar.
Well, just I just drove.
Oklahoma
Yeah.
Secretary of
Planning on
State got
driving back?
arrested.
No, look, guys. You want me to drive anywhere?
Okay. You got an ID on you? Can I say it real quick?
Yep.
Oklahoma Secretary of State.
What have you been doing today?
I went to church tonight, actually.
Okay. A lot of communion.
What's that?
Why are you slurring your words? You're off balance, clearly intoxicated. What's going on?
I'm not off balance.
Okay.
I went to church tonight because a bunch of dads at the church had a gathering.
What'd y'all do at the gathering?
Yeah.
How much have you had to drink tonight, man?
I haven't, but
You've had zero to drink?
no, I don't want to. I want to eat my McDonald's.
Get that?
Yeah. And here's the thing. My kids have been went to a new school tonight or this week. And I went to the event for them. I've been being healthy all week. So I went and got McDonald's because this is my night to have McDonald's. And that's it. So anyway, I know you're look, you got a job to do. That's cool. I'll take an Uber home, whatever. I don't care. But
where do you live? What's your address? Okay, it's pretty far. How much have you actually had to drink tonight? I can smell it coming from your breath while you're talking with me. Stop lying to me. I don't like being lied to. Tell me how much you've had to drink tonight.
I'm trying to lie to you.
Don't tell me that you've been at a church thing. Don't tell me that your kids started a new school. Don't tell me that you're here to get McDonald's. How much have you had to drink tonight?
I actually was at a church thing.
Right, just say, how much have you had to drink tonight?
All I'm saying is I actually was at a church thing. And my kids, it was a church that connected my kids deal. I had a beer. That's it. So I stopped to get McDonald's because I haven't eaten anything fatty and all that stuff all week.
You had one beer?
Yes, yeah.
Looked like you were about to say something else.
No, that's all I was saying. So,
you had one beer?
Actually, I had less than that because I didn't finish it.
Less than one beer?
Yep. And I had 2 NAs.
Wobbling, you're slurring.
No, I don't know how you're doing. I did not have more than that.
You've been driving?
No.
You told me you drove me to get here.
Yeah, but I walked from the St. John the Baptist. That's where I go to church.
Set your stuff down.
And it was
Set your stuff down. Set your stuff down.
Why?
Set your stuff down.
Why?
Last time I'm going to tell you, man.
I will, but why?
Set your stuff down. Face that window. You're under arrest for public intoxication, and you're lucky it's not a DUI. You understand?
No, I don't. Because
you don't understand?
No.
Why do you not understand?
What have I done? In public.
You drove here. Like I said, you're lucky it's not a DUI.
So I guess they can arrest. Remember what we were saying about getting arrested like that? I don't know. Secretary of State of Oklahoma Okay. This one's a minute.
The large social media influencers that have joined the fight. Cavell Cavan, Sup America, Seth Summers, and The Journey 76. I would like to encourage any others out there that are willing to join us to stand up for the people. And I want to make it real clear that we are not one bit distracted by Walmart's PR announcement right after their admission to a 9.4 year-to-year decline, and just days before our boycott, that they are going to start accepting tap pay. That doesn't compensate for over 20 years of atrocities and class action lawsuits, especially the ones that pertain to its own employees, such as 6 in 5 years for unpaid wages, missed breaks, unpaid vacations, discrimination, and even pregnancy accommodations for women. Please join us August 28th through September 3rd to hit this company for $7 billion in revenue. Thank you.
That's getting a lot of attention. News Force had it. I got a mini video from Trump on the racetrack. Nine minutes.
That is roaring through Washington, D.C. right now. And President Trump looks really happy. I don't think I've ever seen anybody look actually happier, whipping through the air the starting flag like this. Look at this. You've never seen it before. Donald Trump is no stranger to IndyCar races. I mean, again, he famously got a race through New York City from Mario Andretti for the kickoff to The Apprentice. Donald Trump went tearing away. I think it was literally Donald Trump in the car. Famously, these shots of President Trump getting whipped around the city, and his hair flying. Here you go. This is again before today, when Donald Trump brought IndyCar racing to Washington. Insane how fast these cars. Listen to this. That's wild. This is insane. Okay. Jeez. Trump takes honorary lap IndyCar track in the Beast. President Trump tearing through Washington, D.C. and did a lap in his vehicle. Trump met with cheers as he exits the Beast for the Freedom 250 Grand Prix. Here we go.
I did a flyby.
It's a very loud event. I mean, to be quite honest, I've never been to an IndyCar race. Have you? I'd love to go to the Indianapolis 500. This is Donald Trump rolling in what is absolutely the most impressive car on the road today, which is the Beast, constantly getting an upgrade. Look at this. Look at this new one right here. You see this? It's the anti-drone roof. The new anti-drone roofs that they're rolling out in D.C. A sign of the times. There's Trump rolling in. Ladies and gentlemen, this is, of course, a flyover moment for Washington, D.C. as well. All branches of the service got a chance to fly across Washington, and everybody's just looking for the B-2 bomber. And that's how you do it. Freaking awesome. That's awesome. Imagine thinking the national debt matters. Nice. All right. And then the races get going. Donald Trump off to the pit.
Pictures. And he brought IndyCar to D.C. to celebrate.
Donald Trump taking a lap in the Beast, meeting all the drivers. Pretty cool. President Trump drove through D.C. U.S. military marched.
5 minutes.
The aesthetics are coming back. Okay. That's exactly what President Trump did to bring back the aesthetics. Right before the 2020 election, also Jeff Gordon was there. It was kind of cool. Jeff Gordon winning a race in downtown D.C. Very cool thing to watch. So, it is, in fact, very, very cool. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is what the aesthetics look like in Washington. This is, I mean, I don't know. They just got this right. Look at this. And they just got it right. That's what it is. And it just the look for the whole thing, the look for the whole race, freaking awesome. And the aesthetic, the day, it's neat. I do it again. Very, very cool. And loud.
Cars. That's Christian Lundgaard making positions up. That's Marcus Armstrong in the stars and stripes.
Freaking cool. Yeah. So a very cool place to do a stand-up shot for news media. Awesome to see the aesthetics right in front of the Capitol. It's awesome. Donald Trump tearing off to do a lap on the track. Presidential motorcade just did a lap around the track. Extremely cool. Vibes are on. And an eagle. Eagle gave us the best flyover of the day. Very cool. They did for UFC. Sweet. It's awesome. Where are you landing? There you go. All right. Okay. USA chants erupting as thousands of Americans watch Trump perform a lap in honor of the Grand Prix around D.C. Place is filled to the brim. The energy is electric. This is the exact course the IndyCar racers will reach 180 miles per hour. Very, very cool. What a neat look. What an awesome look, man. Really, really impressive. What a cool thing to do in Washington, D.C. I mean, traffic's going to be really bad. But I don't live there anymore, so I don't have to worry about that. Pretty sweet aesthetic. Freaking awesome. Okay. I think it's cool. I'm just watching it. I'm like, I think this is cool. Pretty incredible view. Yeah, that's right. Sweet.
Introducing the brand new Silver Star Survival Package. This survival supply package is like...
Couple minutes.
Yeah, NASCAR legends racing in front of the U.S. Capitol. Jeff Gordon doing a burnout.
There were 2 races. Each one was 10 laps. And this was Jeff Gordon after he won, literally right behind us, spinning out, laying rubber right in front of the U.S. Nothing screams America or freedom more than Jeff Gordon laying down rubber. We may have a bump shot, actually, that we can take. Those tire marks are still there on 3rd Avenue, right at the start.
Very cool. I don't know, man. I love it. I think that the vibes are American empire and American strength and Americana. And nothing is, like, literally nothing is better than this national anthem that was sung. They planned the flyover with the national anthem. Perfect. Come on. Come on. Just kind of, hit you with that aesthetics. We have the aesthetics on our side. And now we need to convert it into wins. It's your boy Benny. There's your dose of patriotism.
So that's an update from the racetrack there, DC. I got one guy from Switzerland. It's 6 minutes. I got a 6-minute one today.
Oh, if you've never had Trace 40,000 volts, I like the taste of this. It's good. It's got it's an electrolyte concentrate, helps boost stamina, energy, and endurance, helps prevent muscle cramps. Food supplements. Yeah, never drink water without electrolytes. Whatever you choose to do. Celtic Sea Salt. I'm not going to get into that. Anyway, no coffee today, but I did want to share with you the stuff about the Grand Prix, the IndyCar Grand Prix in Washington, because, you know, I saw it yesterday and I was having a day off yesterday, actually, because I was busy doing normal stuff. So I had to cancel everything. But I saw it yesterday and I thought, oh, what is that? Bread and circuses? What's going on? Didn't really pay that much attention to it. But then when this account here, Il Donaldo Trumpo, Happy Trumpo, follows me, the biggest, most beautiful, unfiltered commentary straight from the heart out of Il greatest presidento that ever lived. A little bit of parody. Look, 1.7 million followers. There are no coinkydinks. And a lot of people, including me, believe that this is actually the back channel. It's an actual Donald Trump account that is used to just keep us chipper during the madness and just kind of let us know everything that's okay. And I mean, this is the kind of thing he puts on here.
Quiet. You're very disrespectful in front of this young man. Okay? Don't you find her disrespectful? He understands. Quiet. Who are you with?
I'm with CNN.
Fake news.
I just wanted to follow up.
Fake news. You're fake news. Come on, man. It doesn't matter whether you love him or hate him. He is definitely the funniest president that ever lived. Now, what's interesting is that, yeah, he's been posting. This one here is the thing, 12 hours ago. It's currently about midday. So that was at midnight last night. And he's saying, better get your popcorn ready. Now, before you start rolling your eyes and sighing and saying, I've been having my popcorn ready for the last 6 years or 10 years and I'm fed up with it, right? This is a big jab, okay? You have to pay attention. Now, what do you have to pay attention to? Well, it's extremely interesting here, because if you look at Whiplash 347 on X, 1.7 mile track going 170 miles an hour, almost like they're talking to anons. Look at this. The DC Grand Prix, celebrating 250 years of American freedom. There it is, 1.7 miles, 7 turns, 17.7. Now, 1707 is a number that's followed me around for a very long time. In fact, it's my eldest son's birthday. So that's 22 years. And this number has appeared a huge amount, along with the number 17 on its own. Let's have a look a little bit further into this. This is a post from Secretary Doug Burgum. The opportunity to go 170 miles per hour down Pennsylvania Avenue is something you don't forget. And there's a lot of other things here. What I did here was I searched Indy 250 1.7 miles, and there's a lot of things here. Green means go. A lot of people, a lot of anons pointing out the 17s everywhere. But what does it mean? What does it mean? Well, if you go to look up the number 1707, that most commonly appears as an angel number in numerology, symbolizing spiritual awakening, divine alignment, intuition, and fresh starts. It also marks a major historical year when the Acts of Union in 1707 united England and Scotland. Yeah, and if you look at, most of you will know that you take the 0 out. If you look at 177, it's exactly the same. Message of spiritual growth, inner wisdom, and new beginnings. And there was something interesting. I did look at the gematria just out of interest here. This is the Jewish gematria, and there's words 177 is Gilgamesh, Sananda, beekeeper. Beekeeper, you remember the beekeeper stuff that was going on a few months ago? Nephilim. And I think down here it says end the Fed.
About a minute
All
and a
I
half.
can say is it's very interesting, and watch this space. So do your own research, question everything, including everything I say. God bless
We're doing
you.
the short videos first.
Thanks for all the comments on the videos recently. I do read them. I can't answer all of them, but got a big week ahead. We've got an event next Saturday with Charlotte Emily Rose. If you saw the video I did of her book launch in Kinsale about the whales, that's going to be a lovely day. She's a lovely woman, and she's going to give a great talk. I'm going to interview her, and we're going to do some ceremonies and do some stuff around the water and the whales here. And the following Tuesday, we've got Laura Eisenhower. That's sold out. So if you're coming to either of those, I look forward to seeing you. Oh, and the person who said I was scruffy the other day, yeah, I'm a bit scruffy. What do you want me to do about it? You try having hair like this. She said, you look a bit scruffy. You've got to do your hair and stop wearing crumpled shirts. Well, most of my shirts are linen. This one isn't, it's cotton. And I gave up ironing after I left the Air Force about 35 years ago. So, no, I'm not going to get any smarter, I'm afraid. Anyway, have a great day, and I'll see you soon.
Okay, that's the short one he had today. Next one is 3 minutes.
Owes more than 18 trillion.
Ah.
$18 trillion. Even Europe, Japan, and India owe huge amounts of money. Every country is borrowing, every country is lending, and somehow the world is now $300 trillion in debt. So here's the question. If everyone owes money, then who are they actually paying it to? Who's collecting all this money, and how can the entire planet be in debt at the same time? It's a really simple question, but one with a surprisingly complicated answer. Let's start with the world's biggest borrower, the United States. Out of the $36 trillion that America owes, about $26 trillion is actually owed to Americans themselves. Yes, you heard that right. The US government borrows from its own citizens, banks, and pension funds through something called treasury bonds. Foreign countries hold only around $7 trillion of US debt. China owns about $750 billion. Japan holds roughly $1.1 trillion, and the rest is spread across nations like the UK, Switzerland, and Saudi Arabia. So in reality, most of America's debt is not to China, it is to its own people. Now let's flip the map. China might be lending to the US, but it's also drowning in debt itself. Chinese government, companies, and local provinces owe a combined $18 trillion, and that number is still rising. So who is China borrowing from? Mostly from its own banks, which are often state-owned. And those same Chinese banks also hold American debt. Yes, it's like a circle. Both countries owe each other money, directly and indirectly. It's not just the US and China. Every major economy borrows and lends at the same time. Japan lends money to the US. US. And when we say Japan lends money to the US, it means Japan buys US government bonds, which means basically lending money to America in exchange for interest. The US uses that borrowed money to fund its spending. Similarly, Europe borrows from Japan, which means European governments or companies take loans or issue bonds that Japanese investors buy. So Japan earns interest from Europe too. Similarly, developing countries also borrow from Western banks. And those same banks get investment from Asian and Middle Eastern funds because countries like Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Asian countries like Japan, Singapore, or China invest their savings into global financial institutions. So it's like a giant circle. And the truth is that the world's debt isn't really owed to one person or country. It's owed within the system, a web of governments, banks, companies, and investors constantly trading promises to pay. But then you might ask that why not just stop borrowing? Well, the entire global economy depends on it. Debt allows money to move, it fuels growth, creates jobs, and lets countries spend more than they earn. But there is also another angle to this. What if this entire system isn't just about money at all? What if it's about control? Because think about it. The moment a country takes on debt, it becomes dependent. It starts making decisions not just for its people, but for the lenders, the markets, and the institutions quietly pulling the strings behind the scenes. The ones who actually profit when everyone else owes something. They're not presidents or politicians. They're the invisible network of global banks, hedge funds, and financial giants who move trillions of dollars with a click. So maybe the world runs on debt. Carefully managed, never-ending debt that keeps nations tied to the same system. A system where no one ever truly pays back, and no one ever truly owns anything. Because the moment the debts are cleared, the illusion of power disappears.
So that was a good one. I got 2 5-minute ones, and then we'll do Billy Bean 28. That will be the first big one. Let's do this one first. Five minutes. Yeah.
8 days later, she was out of a job, and her presidency now stands as the shortest in Harvard's nearly 400-year history. The answer that did it was 7 words long. December 5th, 2023, the House Education and Workforce Committee summons 3 university presidents: Claudine Gay of Harvard, Liz McGill of Penn, Sally Kornbluth of MIT, to answer for the explosion of anti-Semitism on their campuses after October 7th. For nearly 6 hours, it's routine. Prepared statements, careful answers, nothing anyone would clip. Then Elise Stefanik gets her turn near the very end. She's Harvard herself, class of 2006, and she asks the simplest question of the entire day. She's not shouting. She frames it as a plain yes or no. Does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Harvard's rules on bullying and harassment? That's the whole question. There is exactly one survivable answer, and everybody in that room knows it. A 7-year-old knows it. Claudine Gay, a political scientist, 5 months into the biggest job in American higher education, leans towards the microphone. It can be, depending on the context. 7 words. It can be, depending on the context. The president of Harvard saying that whether a call to exterminate Jews breaks her conduct rules. Depends. And honestly, the part that gets me is that this wasn't a slip. The 3 presidents had reportedly been prepped by the same law firm before the hearing. And it showed. That sentence was engineered. She delivered it exactly as designed. And the design was the scandal. Stefanik does something important here. She gives Gay a way out, asks again, straight up. So the answer is yes. Again, it depends on the context. Twice. She said it twice. The first time, you could maybe write it off as a lawyer's reflex. The second time was a choice. Gay tried to pad it. Anti-Semitic speech becomes actionable conduct when it crosses into bullying or intimidation, she said. But the room had already gone quiet in that specific way rooms go quiet when someone is ending her own career and doesn't know it yet. So Stefanik stops asking questions. It does not depend on the context. And then the line that turned a 90-second exchange into a prophecy. She tells Gay, on the record, this is why you should resign. In the moment, it sounded like committee theater. Give it 4 weeks. And Gay wasn't even alone in this. Penn's president had fielded the same question minutes earlier and reached for the same script. It's a context-dependent decision. 3 presidents, 1 hearing. The same lawyered non-answer, basically photocopied. The clip detonated overnight. Stefanik's office claims the exchange became the most viewed congressional testimony in history. Over 1 billion views. The White House condemned the answers. Billionaire donor Bill Ackman publicly demanded all 3 presidents resign. By December 8th, Gay was apologizing to Harvard's own student paper. I am sorry, she told the Crimson. Words matter. She blamed the heat of an extended combative exchange. Too late. On December 9th, 4 days after the hearing, Liz McGill resigned at Penn. Stefanik posted 5 words. 1 down, 2 to go. Harvard tried to hold the line. On December 12th, the governing board unanimously backed Gay, and more than 700 faculty members signed a petition urging the university to keep her. For about 3 weeks, it looked like she'd survive. Then the plagiarism allegations started stacking up. Dozens of citation problems dug out of her academic record by conservative activists. Serious enough that Harvard's own review admitted instances of inadequate citation in her published work. The donor pressure never let up. On January 2nd, 2024, Claudine Gay resigned. 6 months and 2 days in office. The shortest presidency Harvard has ever seen. Stefanik's reaction? 2 down. The verdict here isn't complicated. Nobody ambushed anybody. Stefanik asked the question with a 1-word answer. And the president of Harvard, backed by an entire institution's worth of lawyers, handlers, and prep sessions, chose it depends over yes, twice. On camera. Congress didn't remove her. Harvard's board didn't really remove her either. They voted to keep her. What removed her was her own answer, replayed around the world. 7 words she can never take back. She gave the response her lawyers wrote instead of the one a human being gives. It cost her Harvard in 28 days. And the aftershock outlasted her. Within weeks, Penn's president was gone too. Same hearing, same question, same collapse. And every university president in America now preps for Congress with that 7-word answer taped to the front of the binder. Stefanik's question didn't just end one presidency. It rewrote the rules of what elite institutions can get away with saying out loud, under oath, on camera. One question, asked plainly, did what years of op-eds couldn't.
That was a important one there.
So what do you...
Harvard University News. One more 5-minute one. Then we'll get to Billy B on the first one, and then I got the Wire Channel 20 minutes, and then we'll do Robert and Captain Kyle, and a bunch more.
The Emperor is a fan of flock, and we must continue utilizing flock technologies so that we can follow and surveil the rebel scum as they move from playground to playground, from playground to pool, from pool to gymnasium, because we all know that the flock cameras are not only following the license plate readers, they are following children. They are following children in parks and gymnasiums, and we need this. I need this so I can stalk my ex-girlfriend. Also, it should be known that the people of this town, the pools that want their storm drains cleared, they should not have their storm drains cleared. Because in order to do that, we will have to raise taxes. And how will the people trust this city council when this city council continues to vote for surveillance technology that imprisons them? Miss Campbell, you must work on your Jedi mind tricks. Do it like this. And when you do it, make sure that when you're double speaking them into telling them that police services have become more humanitarian, make sure that you don't emphasize the detail that you put a ban on camping. You put a ban. You made criminalizing homelessness illegal, and that is why there is no such thing as humanitarian policing for the homeless, because we have effectively criminalized homelessness, which is good. Now we can staff, now we can fill our jails with free prison labor, especially like that of the Otay Mason Detention Center, where they are making $1 a day for working for 12 hours. And there have been multiple cases of tuberculosis. Yes, and this is good. This is what the Emperor needs. This technology will help us find the rebel scum and their hidden base on Hoth. This technology will help us find Luke Skywalker as he traverses the universe in his X-Wing. This technology is a necessary force.
Thank you. Roger Ralphs? Is Roger Ralphs present? Thank you. And our final speaker is Darth Vader.
This council has done well. I am pleased, and so is the Chomo Emperor. But we have given too much money to our libraries, too much money to our parks. We need SDPD to have more money for the Emperor to rule over the entire universe. Once the Death Star has been completed, no one will be able to rebel against us. We will be the ultimate power in the universe. We do not need parks. We do not need libraries. We do not need daycare centers. We do not need homeless shelters. All we need is money for our stormtroopers. And anyone that disagrees is part of the Rebel Alliance and a scum, and they should be taken away immediately. This council needs to understand that we are the ultimate power in the universe, and we will not succumb to the forces of democratic will. No, this council was elected to serve the police, not the public. And if our stormtroopers don't receive all the funding that they deserve, there will be hell to pay with the Emperor. And he is not as forgiving as I.
Thank you. This concludes testimony here in chambers, so I will begin the 5 minutes.
Oh, that one, guys. Okay, Billy Bean, 28.
But this is what. Welcome to Truth by Billy Bean. Today's date, August 23, 2026, time in Texas, about 8 a.m. My internet was down half of Friday night and all day Saturday.
That's why.
How about yours?
Your internet.
And thanks for like, subscribe, and share, and for hitting the like button. That really helps my channel. Some of the things we'll cover. X is coming. President Trump. EBS and gold spikes and possibly indicating a coming crash or major market correction. Russia takes Oreho and Ukraine imports a human shield. So let's get started. So we have from Space Weather, NASA NOAA. We do have a major sunspot now facing the Earth. Sunspot 45 13 that has a unstable magnetic field and is predicted to produce some strong X flares directly headed toward Earth. We know that massively affects our communications, satellites, cell phones, power grid. It also dramatically increases our radiation, and we're seeing a radiation spike on Earth due to a weakened electromagnetic field. So some people, some of my Patriot subscribers have described significant health effects they have from increased solar activity. So this is a heads up. We have this from Gary, Indiana. People have, since major storms came in to Indiana and flooding about 1 week ago, some parts in Gary, Indiana are still without electricity, and it's unknown when their electricity will be restored. So the citizens of Gary, Indiana are now suing their state power grid company, alleging that they failed to take down vegetation and protect the power grid. I can relate to that. We saw that in many areas in Texas when we had the Hurricane Beryl. I was up without electricity 10 days, but some areas in Texas along the coast were without electricity for up to 1 month. The power grid literally had to be rebuilt from the ground up. And I know in my area, the major problem were trees that the Texas power grid companies had failed to cut down. And after that,
if you've got high cholesterol, statins are a necessary evil, right? Not anymore. Watch this. For almost 15 years, I treated high cholesterol the same way every other doctor does.
Governor Abbott, having strong support then from the Texas legislature, mandated massive amounts of money to be spent all across Texas to shore up our power grid. Way to go, Governor Abbott. We have this from David Nino Rodriguez, who recently interviewed Michael Jaco and Alpha Warrior, putting out their intel that it's possible we could have an EBS by President Trump acting as our commander-in-chief for some type of national security event or threat, possibly in August or October. So that's going on. We do see that President Trump's leadership in the U.S. and around the world is now taking down cartels. A recent leader of a South American cartel was just arrested by the U.S. in UAE. So that's going on. We see President Trump choking the cartels. And it's believed that after the midterms, we will see massive arrest, not only of cartel leaders and members, but possibly of some of the stinky politicians. So that's going on. I have this from a Patriot subscriber. We should take over control of the Strait of Hormuz and then build robust pipelines to bypass the strait, then boycott Iran exports. I agree wholeheartedly. And I believe that many of the Middle East countries are now building those robust pipelines to bypass the Strait of Hormuz. We have this from the Supreme Court in the U.S. President Trump can continue building indefinitely the ballroom and the addition to the White House to act as a bunker situation. So way to go, Supreme Court. And we have this from U.S. Intel. We have that Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov has said to the UK, and we know that Russia now is saying the UK is acting as a co-belligerent to Ukraine by supplying them with many weapons and money and so on. So the Russian Foreign Minister says to the UK, I pity Britain if it stands with Ukraine until the end. And we have this in Europe.
$17.
Please hit
That's
the
not
like
a
button.
deposit,
Please hit the like
not
button.
a starter size. $17 is the
European nations say that they are not going to supply weapons and money to the Ukraine Banderites. Banderites is a term being used to describe the Nazis who are in Ukraine. And we have this also from Europe. They say Russia looks for any excuse to expand the conflict. There's a lot of chatter about Russia expanding the conflict into European nations, NATO nations such as Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Finland, Poland, and so on. Personally, I do not expect Russia to expand after it takes Ukraine into European NATO nations. I do not believe that Russia wants to tangle with NATO. But many European leaders are telling their people that and saying, oh, we have to send money and weapons to Ukraine. And then these same politicians get kickbacks from everything that goes into Ukraine. Just saying. We have this from U.S. Intel. We have from an ex-post viral news that something very suspicious appears to be happening in New York City that looks like and smells like a setup for another 9/11 event. So we have this report that that happened August 23 this morning, about 2 a.m. until 4 a.m. 10 men stripped down to their underwear in the area of McDonald's Avenue and Avenue South, then took manhole covers up and went down into the system underneath the highway and stayed there for 2 hours. And we're wondering, what were they doing down there and why, 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. So heads up, NYPD. We have this from U.S. Intel. This is another indicator, I believe, of global money instability that I believe will have a direct impact on the U.S. stock market, possibly bringing in something like a sharp downturn in the U.S. market, possibly a crash. So we have this from Qatar in the Middle East. We know they're directly across the Persian Gulf from Iran, and Iran has been hitting Qatar and has damaged their LNG properties. Qatar now is cutting their social services and government budget by 30% and cutting their foreign aid by 85%. We have this also from U.S. Intel. What we're seeing in the U.S. stock market, we're seeing a gold spike with gold options, and that's a contract where you can lock in a certain price for gold up to a certain date. It's believed that gold very soon could go up to $5,000 per ounce. So we see institutions in the U.S. Exercising gold options right now, and it's a well-known economic move when there is instability in the stock market for institutions and banks and so on to begin hedging their bets with gold. So that's going on. And we see many U.S. and global investors diversifying their holdings, including the U.S. Central Bank. And we have from Goldman Sachs that the U.S. stock market is volatile. We have this from Military Summary.
Never drive off immediately after filling your tank. What happens in those first 3 minutes is exactly why your gas disappears so fast. And automotive companies are in full panic mode, trying to stop mechanics like me from telling you.
So Ukraine is building in Kiev, its capital, a human shield. On its Independence Day, August 23, from leaders from other countries, including 2 U.S. senators. That's Senator Blumenthal, Democrat from Connecticut, Senator James Lankford, Republican from Oklahoma, as well as leaders from other countries, including Estonia, Finland, Latvia, Norway. And we say building a human shield because it's highly unlikely that Russia will make a hit on Kiev while these world leaders are present, ostensibly to celebrate Ukraine's Independence Day. I submit it's for them to engage in talks about money and weapons. We have this. Last night, we saw in Russia, St. Petersburg, we saw a major logistical warehouse burned down to the ground. It was very large, but there were no reports of drones seen. And now many speculate, was that an accident or sabotage? And we have that Moscow also was hit with drones, but it's believed Moscow has learned how to take down the Ukraine drones. However, another logistical hub for Russia near Moscow, the Ozone Enterprise, was hit by Ukraine drones. We have this from U.S. Intel, that we have in Ukraine now no air defense. Zelensky asked Europe and the U.S. for Patriot missiles for air defense, but the U.S. has a low supply, and Europe will not give up their Patriot air defense because Europe, many of them, believe they will soon be hit by Russia. So that's going on. And we have this. Russia made a massive strike on Kiev, like Wednesday through Thursday. So I'll give you several significant locations hit in Ukraine. So today's Sunday. About 3 days ago, one of the locations hit in Kiev is Farpoint, that makes drones for Ukraine.
If I die tomorrow, my family inherits $2.5 million. Not debt, not a mortgage, actual.
And also develops
guys.
and produces aircraft. Well, aircraft is another term for the larger drones. We also see Russia hitting a thermobaric aircraft manufacturer that also makes bombs and anti-tank missiles. So that's going on. And also Ukraine's drones, Baba Yaga. So that was hit. Also hit in Kiev, Martusika, a logistical company for Ukraine, a transport and logistical center. They also are a storage site for drones and other weapons, including long and medium range UAV drones and robotic components and other equipment. We also saw hit in Kiev a fuel and lubrication depot in Brovary, that's a town near Kiev, where was stored 8,000 cubic meters of fuel for the Ukraine military. So that was hit. Plus, a Ukraine military equipment warehouses were hit in Tromamarsk and Zuzany. Ukraine also is out of air defense. And as I said, they're not going to be supplied, it appears, from the US or Europe. We have this also hit in Kiev, a warehouse system that contained parts of long and medium range missiles and UAVs, and also assembled aircraft type UAVs, and so on. So Russia 3 days ago made a massive hit on Kiev, taking down large, significant manufacturing facilities for Ukraine's drones. Also, another location hit, State Enterprise Autonov, an aircraft assembly of long-range type missiles. And also, this coming winter, it's believed, will be very hard in Ukraine, as they currently have spotty electric power and no heating. So that's going on. And we have this. We have that it's believed and is being put forth by reputable sources, including Axios and Politico, that every night 10 to 20 million barrels of oil are passing through the Strait of Hormuz. And President Trump now works to open the Keystone Pipeline. Now, the that runs from Alberta, Canada, into the U.S. Now, it's curious. Alberta, Canada, I believe the people have voted in a referendum to separate from Canada and become the U.S. 51st state. Alberta, Canada is the major oil and gas producer currently for Canada. And we understand the Alberta government has met with the U.S. State Department many times this year. So way to go, President Trump. Make America great again and take in Alberta, Canada. American people will welcome Alberta, Canada as our 51st state. We have this from Alex Cristoforo, that Ukraine works, we know, to hit inside Russia with drones. However, Ukraine's activity along the 1,000-mile front line in Ukraine with Russia is not working out well for Ukraine. We see Russia continuing to take more and more territory. But it's coming out now, according to Alex Cristoforo, that Ukraine now has a plan for Ukraine drones to hit the civilian airport in Moscow, and for Ukraine drones to target civilian commercial airplanes. That would include both Russian planes and foreign countries' planes who are coming in to land at Moscow. So heads up to the commercial airplane industry in the U.S. and globally. And we have this. We see Fedorov, the fired Minister of Defense in Ukraine, now leading protests to hold a presidential election. As I've put out, Zelensky legally is not the president of Ukraine now. His term ran out 2 years ago. It's speculated that Fedorov wants to run against Zelensky in a Ukraine presidential election. We have this from Scott Bessent, Secretary of the U.S. Treasury, that interest being paid on our bonds makes buying U.S. bonds a good deal, and that we're having interaction with China.
They call it the SPLC. It's a radical left outfit that spreads racial division. One of their leaders is Jocelyn Benson. Benson's SPLC just got indicted for funneling millions to people in extremist groups. Tell Jocelyn Benson, keep your race wars out of Michigan.
The Crisco lie they told us in the 1950s.
You know, Crisco, it was originally a candle wax replacement, not cooking oil. So why did everybody cook with Crisco? Well, World War II hit.
And that China says it will continue to buy Iranian oil. We have this from U.S. Intel. China publicly announces that it will not abide by the U.S. Sanctions against Iran and will continue to buy their oil, and says that sanctions by the U.S., according to China, has no legal basis. Well, hello, China. The U.S. is currently involved in a military dust-up with Iran, and certainly any tool against your enemy is legitimate. And China says publicly it will continue to buy Iran oil. Hello, China. How will you get that oil to China with the U.S. blockade in place? Just saying. And we have this, that Wu Xingbo, a U.S. study scholar at the Fudan University. He's in China, but he's considered to be an expert on the U.S., says that China will not abide by the sanctions. We have this from Enforcer. We are seeing hits by Ukraine into Russia on their oil facilities, producing in Russia a significant problem with domestic supply of gasoline and diesel. And Enforcer reports that a Russian plane went inside Finland, 8.7 kilometers, about 5 miles. We do see Russia using several techniques, it appears, to test NATO's response. We've seen drones, Russian drones or missiles into the airspace of both Poland and Romania recently. But and we did see one fall, I think that was in Poland and one in Romania, but in an open area. It's believed, and we saw one come very near to a Romania oil and gas facility offshore Neptune, and it was shot down by U.S. F-16s. So that's going on. And we have this. We do see Russia continuing to advance along the front line in Ukraine, taking a significant location in the past few days, Orevho, which it was predicted if that fell, then the Ukraine front line would collapse in southern Ukraine. Even Ukraine now states that, yes, Russia has taken this territory. And Ukraine made that statement today, August 23. This concludes my update. I love you, and I'll see you soon.
Okay, that was a big one there today. Kate, yeah, she said her internet was off like yours was. I'm surprised she hasn't got a second one out yet. But I got a 20-minute wire channel. I'm going to do a couple 5-minute ones and then get on to the Robert and Captain Kyle one. Oh.
Indicate that the volume of crude exiting the region is lower. Right now, I cannot definitively confirm either narrative, simply because there are differences in the nuances of how ships are being counted. But whatever the case, the proof will be in the pudding in about 2 weeks when we get the official oil report for this month. If it turns out that we actually did reduce that 8 million barrel per day deficit that we've been talking about for a while now, that's good. That means that ships did get out through the strait. But if basically nothing changed, or if it went down, then, well, we know somebody's not really telling the truth, don't we? But I cannot definitively say with any certainty myself until we have tallied up the tankers that have actually arrived in port and a cargo of petroleum has been pumped out of them. So trust is very low with this war all around on all sides, but we're going to find out one way or the other how things are going. Otherwise, most nations around the region are hedging their bets, and they're planning on a return to the war at some point in the future. A lot of nations learned how vulnerable they were during this war, and they've tried to take steps to mitigate that for the future. This morning, footage from the UAE hit the timeline, which appears to show the legendary practice of installing rather significant anti-drone cages around some of their oil storage facilities. I do not know the context of this video, but it's honestly quite interesting because the tanks themselves, what they are protecting, are actually the least valuable part of the whole system. I would have expected this surrounding the wellheads or pumping stations or other more sensitive facilities, but not routine storage tanks. But whatever, they clearly think it's worth protecting, and in doing so, they continue to heap evidence on the pile, indicating that this war is not going to end anytime soon. Also this week, another point of friction is emerging that is incredibly serious, which is Turkey. This week, the Israelis conducted airstrikes within Syria at an airbase that the Turks were trying to set up for both their own use, but also probably to lay the groundwork for reestablishing the Syrian military, which right now doesn't really exist in the wake of the collapse of the Assad regime a few years ago. The Israeli strikes took place at Al-Dahur Air Base, with the runway being cratered and a few of the airport facilities being hit as well. This attack was directly intended for for Turkey, with Prime Minister Netanyahu directly confirming that's why he did it. A few days before the strikes, a Turkish diplomatic delegation, or kind of like an advanced team, had visited the base, and Turkish soldiers and construction crews were intended to deploy to this location right before the strikes took place. At least that's what the Western media is saying. Turkey denies any involvement, and Syria also denies any sort of development at the base, so they're not talking. Based on the preponderance of evidence, it's almost certain that Turkey was probably trying to set up shop at the airbase, and the IDF didn't like that, so they bombed it. As one might expect, this has soured relations between Turkey and the United States, and is the latest escalation that's probably going to get worse. Politicians all around want to show their national strength, and things get a little dicey. So as always, we run the risk of running into a more regional conflagration every week that goes by. So situation normal, Israel's bombing stuff. Here on the home front, the main concerns this week remain in the economic realm. I know, not the most exciting topic, but the situation is beginning to deteriorate further. This week, the White House announced their plan to import 300,000 metric tons of ground beef, which will be imported from a mystery country, which President Trump has refused to disclose. So there's not going to be any country of origin required on the packaging for this mystery meat. This ground beef will be sold at a price of 25% below the market rate, but the details of how this is going to work out is not really known. This is not particularly surprising, as from what I can read through the agricultural journals, most farmers, most cattle ranchers kind of assumed this was going to happen. Right before the midterms, they were probably going to start loosening the import controls on beef to try to drive prices down, because ground beef has become quite expensive compared to everything else. So to keep food prices low right before an election season, they're going to try to pump the market a little bit and do what they can to bring prices down. I'm sure many people who have read history books before know that centralized planning of food has worked out super well throughout history, so I'm sure there'll be no problems with this whatsoever. To be honest, I don't really have any details on how this is going to work out. We're just kind of having to take a stab in the dark at what they're actually planning to do with this, so something to keep an eye on for later, especially considering I don't know if they're importing the cattle or the actual finished ground beef product. So we might actually be finding out why we don't really like to import ground beef from other countries, such as Mexico or Argentina, for instance. Generally speaking, ground beef has the highest chance for contamination because churning up cuts of beef into essentially a paste makes it much easier for contaminants to make their way into the product. And when you're eating a hamburger, you're eating the byproducts of 1,000 cows, right, instead of just one head of cattle. So that makes point of origin harder to identify, and all the problems that kind of come with that. So if they are planning to import actual ground beef from, again, Mexico or Argentina or some place in Central America, you might get some bacteria, pesticides that are banned in the U.S., or even some ground-up cartel member. You never really know what's in your cheeseburger. So, again, maybe there are no concerns with this. Once again, the devil's in the details, and we're just going to have to wait and see. The fact that the White House and President Trump himself has declined to say where the beef is coming from, that's pretty concerning, and that points to deceit, right? So that's, something that they're trying to hide, and that doesn't really make people feel really good. So hopefully we'll get some more transparency on this, but we're just gonna have to wait and see. Also within the homeland of this week, there have been a few incidents worthy of mention, starting with the alleged terror attack that was thwarted by the FBI. If you are so inclined, I would recommend just reading through the indictment yourself. It's only 21 pages, but it's pretty interesting. The short version, for anyone who doesn't want to read through it, is that this is a case of the FBI finding a mentally ill individual and setting them up to conduct a terror attack. Jessica Bowie, an extremely mentally ill woman who is the one and only suspect in this case, was shouting at the internet about supporting ISIS, and she was immediately contacted by undercover agents who promptly got her to stage a terror attack, such that it was. The problem is she was so mentally ill and unable to actually carry out most of the steps that the FBI agents had to actually coach her along quite a bit along the entire way. She was never actually in contact with any real ISIS faction, either at home or overseas. It was purely this lady by herself. And the FBI even admitted in their own indictment that they had to coach her on how to make the pledge to ISIS. They held her by the hand so much that they literally went with her to Home Depot to help her pick out electrical tape and acetone to make an IED with. That's just so embarrassing. Good grief. The biggest problem with this entire case is that before the alleged IED attack was to take place, she got spooked, and she was actually planning and theorizing how she would go about stabbing her roommate to death if the roommate were to discover the fake IED that she had in her possession, which was given to her by the FBI. This was not part of the FBI's plan, and they almost got a random person killed trying to entrap a very obviously mentally ill woman into becoming a terrorist. Of course, Bowie herself was not completely innocent in all of this. She went along with every single step of the plan, and she will surely go to prison for a very long time. That is, if the case doesn't get dismissed due to the sheer amount of direct FBI involvement that took place at every single step of the way. I mean, clearly this woman needs to be in a padded room for a very long time, but Todd Blanche has been doing the social media circuit, just talking about how great he is and how great the FBI is, and everybody's just been popping champagne and firing off confetti about their major bust, just like Merrick Garland used to do, just like Biden's DOJ used to do. And most of us who know how investigations work are just cringing with embarrassment on this one. So clearly this woman was not the next Osama bin Laden, even though the FBI is trying to make it out to be that big of a case. And because of that, they're demonstrating that they are most certainly not interested in investigating legitimate terrorist organizations. We've got several hundred terrorist organizations within the U.S. who actually openly say they are terrorist organizations, but the FBI is not really interested in rolling them up because, well, we all know why. But you guys get the drift. This case out of New York is an absolute nothing, and it's just embarrassing. But speaking of investigating terrorist organizations, this week I have been digging deep into the Tongan Crip gang within Utah, which is a sentence that is a little bit surprising to most people, but the Tongan Crip gang within the great state of Utah and their adversaries continue to wreak havoc throughout Salt Lake City and various outlying areas. My interest in the case was prompted actually back in January when the first Tongan Crip funeral shooting occurred, but my interest was reignited earlier this week when the second Tongan Crip funeral shooting occurred in the same general area. Earlier this week, they were trying to have a funeral for a Tongan Crip member who got blasted by a couple of prepared citizens who shot him as he was trying to murder a gas station clerk who refused to sell him alcohol. This was a pretty good and motivating case coming out of Utah. A couple of prepared citizens ventilated a gang member fairly effectively after that gang member was trying to kill an innocent person. So that guy's funeral was actually on Monday, and there was a shooting at his funeral. So this shooting resulted in multiple people being shot, and this actually in turn was not the end of the story. So after the shooting at the funeral, the wounded people, the wounded family members who were at the congregation at the funeral, they were taken to Intermountain Medical Center, basically the biggest hospital for several states. And after they got there, the Tongans actually followed the ambulances to the hospital and started causing a riot in the parking lot. So the 911 dispatch or the radio traffic from the police scanners indicates that about 80 or so Tongan Crip family members were trying to break down the door of the emergency room. Like they were trying to breach the facility because they were just so upset or something. I don't know. But anyway, they assaulted one ER employee. They threw somebody to the ground, and it was such a big deal that they had to actually deploy Bearcats, armored vehicles, and snipers to the rooftops just to hold off the hordes of Tongans. I know, this is an insane story coming out of Salt Lake City where you would not expect that sort of thing, but this is a massive can of worms. This is a very deep rabbit hole, so strap in. I know that this is not something that everyone's interested in because it sounds like a fairly standard gang war in a major American city, not particularly out of the ordinary for this kind of thing. I mean, rushing a hospital is pretty different. Like, you don't see gangs doing that a lot. But anyway, I'm interested in this simply because of how it's being covered up, specifically by the LDS Church. Now, pumping the brakes right to start with, I have to issue the disclaimer that I have no dog in this fight. I am not addressing the aspects of the faith itself. That's none of my business. I am solely concerned about the Tongan Crips themselves, specifically with regards to them overrunning LDS meeting houses around the city. And the church is not doing anything to stop it. As a matter of fact, they're encouraging it. On my maps, every single one of these TCG points is an LDS church, or what they actually call a meeting house. So they don't call them churches, they call them meeting houses, which is host to specifically a Tongan ward or a congregation, what we might call a congregation. In many cases, several Tongan wards share the same meeting house, so there's a little bit of overlap there. You'll have like Tongan ward number 13 being at the same place as, another Tongan ward. So there's a little bit of overlap there between these specific sites. When it comes to this specific cultural group itself, the Tongan population in Salt Lake City, as in the people from the island of Tonga who were Pacific Islanders who were brought to Salt Lake City, or they immigrated to California and then immigrated to Salt Lake City, the Tongan population of the state, they consider themselves to be Tongan Crips. Like, for them, even using their own words and their own cultural belief system and stuff like that, they consider it to be one and the same, right? I feel like I have to mention that because a lot of the media and a lot of the Tongans who are talking to the media, surprise, surprise, they're not exactly telling the truth. And before these shootings, it turned out that every Tongan, is TCG. That's what they said on their own, social media pages. And now the spotlight's on them. Now suddenly there's this difference between being Tongan and being TCG. when in essence they're really the same thing. So if you were to make a Venn diagram of the Tongan population of Salt Lake City and the Tongan Crip gang, it would be one circle, right? Because there's nearly complete overlap between the two demographics and groups. This matters because these Tongan wards are set up solely for Tongans throughout the city. These are generally, and quite entertainingly, segregated away from other LDS facilities because these services are held in the Tongan language. If you wanted to find out where to go, good luck, because the website for these places is actually in Tongan. It's not even in English. The problem is specific Tongan families that run these wards, they're actually pretty high-ranking members of the Tongan Crip gang. A lot of them have ties back to Inglewood in California and also Seattle, where there's another cell of TCG. So there's some pretty big movers and shakers in Salt Lake City. The reason as to why I'm concerned about this is mostly due to morbid fascination, but also due to the future deaths that are going to occur. The city is on fire, and more people are going to get killed because the LDS Church doesn't want anybody to know about the problem they have going on inside their churches, so they lean on the mainstream media to cover it up or soften the language of what's going on. And the gaslighting, ladies and gentlemen, I have not seen.
This is the fastest way to wake up poop muscles.
If you sit on the toilet, bear down, and barely anything comes out, you don't have constipation.
Gaslighting this significant anywhere else in the world. It is literally insane consuming any kind of media coming out of Salt Lake City. Right now, for instance, everyone is saying that the shooting at the funeral was just a minor dispute between families. Oh yeah, it sure was, but the families were the Tongan Crips, and I suspect the Rose Park Bloods. Possibly the baby regulators, though I'm not quite sure about that. It's hard to say who was actually affiliated with whom. But the gaslighting is so bad in Salt Lake City that even the journalists are peddling the GoFundMe pages for the alleged victims in this shooting, which is odd because literally everyone involved is either a confirmed gang member or suspected of being one. I've found the social media pages for the victim's lieutenant in the Tongan Crip gang. So, I mean, what are we doing here, guys? You know? Anyway, let's just say the rabbit hole goes pretty deep on this one. But anyway, projecting out the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be heavily monitoring the gang situation in the city because I think we have a decent chance of maybe not preventing the next mass shooting, but mitigating it as best we can. This is a situation that we actually do have the ability to do something, right? We know that based on the one casualty that has been reported so far from that funeral meeting, that there is going to be another funeral. And with another funeral, there is 100% going to be another shooting at a Tongan ward. And there are only so many places a funeral can be held and only so many days of the week it can be held on. So we are dealing with a workable problem here. We're dealing with a finite list of potential shooting sites, times, locations, stuff like that. So for those in the area, I would strongly recommend being aware of any upcoming Tongan cultural events and funerals because the chances of a shooting taking place are extraordinarily high. When it comes to the specific parts of the city where this is going to be a risk, well, I mean, the whole city is an absolute dystopian hellhole, but if you're concerned specifically about the Tongan Crip gang shooting you, instead of one of the other 100 gangs that are active throughout Salt Lake City, the high-risk zones for another Tongan Crip shooting are going to be West Valley City, probably all the way up in Rose Park as well to the north of town, and I also think personally in West Jordan, because there are a lot of people who are affiliated with this one particular family at the center of this who are in West Jordan. So again, this is kind of like an investigator's dream here because these people are very openly gang members all over their social media pages. They're using their real names. They're not really exercising any kind of OPSEC, and they've been doing this for, well, decades, honestly. So if I can narrow down the next mass shooting that's going to occur in a major American city, then, you know, maybe there's a clue there that we should probably investigate, you know, from the professional side of things a little bit more. Just a theory there. But anyway, we'll keep an eye out, and hopefully nobody will get killed during the next shooting. Continuing the trend of monitoring the situation, I have decided to begin a new tracker detailing the notable abuses this month within the U.S. surveillance state. This map details all of the locations where law enforcement agencies have either fired or suspended employees for misuse of surveillance technologies. And this is just for the month of August. If you want a more clean map, I will link to a group which is compiling these abuse cases on their website, but I wanted to have my own slide just for me so I could track it personally. But as we can see, we are 3/4 of the way through August, 3 weeks in, and this is how many violations have been documented. And maybe we can see the scale of the problem. But fear not, it actually gets worse when we start adding in some of the other developments in the world of technology that have come to light over the past couple of weeks. Apart from these more direct surveillance concerns, there are adjacent technologies which are going to be complicating things moving forward. So let me explain. There are already companies which are advertising the ability to alter surveillance footage in real time. Recently, the Israeli cybersecurity firm Toka rolled out a new product which allows customers to remotely access cameras and change the footage of what is being recorded in real time, all without leaving a trace. As a reminder, Toka was created by Epstein's friend and associate Ehud Barak, the former Prime Minister of Israel, and back in 2018, Barak tried to sell Toka products directly to Jeffrey Epstein, specifically for targeting senior officials. Here's the email. You can very clearly see what was trying to happen here. Now, I don't know if Jeffrey Epstein actually was a purchaser of this platform, but Toka does not sell to individual people. Toka only sells to governments and militaries. And this cybersecurity firm creates a lot of different tools, but the one that is concerning, at the moment at least, is the commercialization of manipulating camera footage without leaving a trace. Think of this as basically exactly the plot of the movie Ocean's 11, where the footage of the vault, inside the Bellagio was altered to conceal what was going on. This company is offering this capability as a service, not a theoretical exercise, not a one-time thing, not a, custom-built tool for one specific purpose. No, a universal tool that is mass-produced for whichever government or intelligence agency wants to buy it. If you want to learn more about the details of this company and this product, check out the thread on X by Josh Walkos, who kind of broke the story a couple of weeks ago. I'll link it in the description box below as well. So bringing back the cameras that are coming to the end of every single driveway in America, we have to remember affiliation. Toka's lead investment firm, their main funding source is Andreessen Horowitz, which is the same firm that is a major funding source for another rather interesting company. Now, this is just my personal opinion, but I don't think it's a very good idea to be viewing both of these sorts of companies and agencies in isolation. I think it makes a lot more sense to start viewing them as working within the same ecosystem. Once again, speculation here, but who's to say that this software can't alter the evidence of what the National Camera Network sees? For software packages similar to what Toka offers, they can literally manufacture the evidence they need for whatever crime they want to imagine. But even so, why would this company even need this software? They can manipulate and delete any footage they don't like right now. So for those people who still somehow think that they have nothing to hide, good luck with that moving forward, because the tools are already coming together to make this nationwide surveillance issue a clear and present danger to the American people. So one of the ways that I think I can help mitigate the effects of this, and especially how this is going to work out after the midterms and probably more accurately after 2028, is in the realm of information exchange. Like it or not, but a good portion of this effort lies within the realm of communications and being able to coordinate efforts to stay ahead of whatever happens next. This is why some of the stuff I've been working on myself has been to harden and strengthen the flow of information through communications networks. You guys may not see it on your end, at least not yet, but I've been trying to really strengthen some of the ways that I can get information out to the world myself and also help facilitate the flow of information to others. If I can't leave my house because the government mandates a lockdown and the cameras are monitoring the roads, how can I ensure continuity of operations and be somewhat effective even under extreme circumstances? Of course, this is one of the worst case scenarios that's still decently likely, but again, we hope for the best and plan for the worst. These days, with so many nefarious entities out there in the world, it's pretty hard to figure out which ones to focus on and what we can actually do to mitigate the effects of what some of these companies and agencies are doing. And ever since things got pretty serious earlier this year, especially with the war kicking off, I myself have been doing what I can to harden my own ability to get work done, even though it's becoming more dangerous to do so. At a basic level, it does not matter if one person knows the truth if they cannot share it with anyone else in an unrestricted way, which is why I have been trying to do what I can to make that possible with tools such as the GhostNet. This week's net was great as always. Summertime thunderstorms rolling in offered me a little bit of challenging conditions to work with, but the network continues on regardless, and it's a very resilient way to stay informed on what's going on around the world. It's not perfect, but it's also incredibly hard to censor without actually drone striking the radio operator. And there are a lot of different methods for integrating HF radio in more interesting ways that allow us to have a lot of capability even when our overlords do not want us to. And I think we're making good progress on that. So that's all I've got for today. Thank you for all of your support. Thank you for watching.
Okay, that's our weekly Wire Channel report. Very important one there. So the last big video I'm going to save for last. I'm going to go ahead and get back to doing short videos. I got a 9-minute one, that one lady that does the Bible verses, the younger one. This one's a big one, I think.
personal opinion. This is my personal viewpoint. I cannot prove any of this. And we're just talking about coincidences. Let's start at the very beginning. So back in early June, I saw a couple of these articles talking about men that were entering and exiting manholes in New York City in the middle of the night. Now, if you follow me, you know how I feel about the media. You know that I feel that the media is just propaganda, that the media is there to instill narratives and to also tell us things that are about to happen before they happen, because the media is ran by Satanists and that's what they do, allegedly. And of course, the NYPD said that there was no threat.
No
Nothing to worry
cowboy
about,
lady
nothing
or guy
suspicious
yet.
here, right? Now, when
No
I
guy.
am reading the news, right, when I'm
I did not
scrolling, when
see
I'm
that
looking
lady.
at the media, I'm coming from a perspective where I understand what the media is. I understand who controls the media. I understand the purpose, the intent of the media. So I don't look at things like this for face value. I'm looking for the deeper layers. I'm looking into the deeper layers. I'm reading in between the lines. I'm trying to discern what they're trying to tell us. And so with this article, just my personal opinion, again, TikTok, but I see this as them telling us that something is coming to this particular city, and whoever or whatever country, right, is blamed. It's obviously not the truth that this was manufactured, that this is not organic. So anyway, I saved these articles, knew that they meant something, knew that they were telling us that something was coming, but then forgot about it. Now, fast forward to the World Cup, and everybody starts to catch on to this. What looks like, right, just looks like allegedly could possibly be a bomb in the middle of New York. It also, if you notice, looks like a possible eclipse in the middle of that. Now listen, if you're rolling your eyes, I understand. I used to be that person too. But when you actually put aside your pride and you actually start to look into this stuff, when you understand who runs our world, when you understand what they believe, what they are into, what spiritual law they abide by, that says that if you tell the world what you're going to do before you do it, then you avoid the consequences. A lot of this starts to make more sense. And when you actually start to dig in to opening ceremonies, closing ceremonies, let's say the Olympics, that literally had symbolism of what happened in 2020, almost 10 years before it happened. When you start to see their symbolism, you can't unsee it. It's everywhere because this is literally what they abide by. There was also this as well. I'm not going to say anything about it. All right, let's move on. Now, this is where it gets interesting, and just hang with me because this is probably going to be a little lengthy. I'll tie in Hayden and all of that in a second. So I was messaging a sister in Christ on this app. I won't tag her. She can comment on this video if she wants. But we were talking last month. Now, she gets visions from the Lord. Every vision comes to pass. She got a vision about me. She wanted me to know about it. It was a direct confirmation of what the Holy Spirit had told me, literally all word for word. I was mind blown. So I knew, right? I think the Lord was telling me that her visions are from him. They are legit, to trust her, all that. I already knew she was legit in the spirit, but you know what I mean? So we were talking and she told me about a vision that she had about New York City and that it was gonna, I don't know if I can say that. I'm trying to play it safe. So we were talking about that, and instantly those articles came to mind. I didn't show her. I didn't really bring it. I kind of just pushed it away. It was quickly forgotten. But then recently she sent me this video.
He is second from left, Zohran Mamdani, the mayor of New York, and his picture is far, far away from home here in central Tel Aviv. This is a campaign poster for the Likud party. That's Benjamin Netanyahu's ruling party, and they're facing elections at the end of October. And who is Mamdani with? Well, to his right, the supreme leader of Iran. To his left, the president of Turkey. To his left again, the leader of Hezbollah. People who are leaders, who are really enemies of Israel, some in active war with Israel.
And we just kept talking because there's so many things that are starting to come out about New York. Now, they're just very subtle hints, but if you know what you're looking for, you see them plain as day. We all know that Hayden recently passed away. And if you've been paying attention, there are some just odd things surrounding her death. There are some coincidences, numerical coincidences, if you will, such as the fact that she died on August 16th at 8:16, shortly after appearing on episode 816 of Jay Shetty's podcast. Her initials HP align perfectly with that date. H is the 8th letter, P is the 16th. These next two things are what we're really going to focus on. So her death came just after the August 12th eclipse that we had. And she was also, of course, best known for Heroes, a series where heroes become vulnerable during eclipses, exploring premonition and predetermined destiny. The logo and opening credits feature a solar eclipse. Also, side note, in season 4, she dies of cardiac arrest. So she dies 4 days after we have our eclipse. And the tagline of the show is "Save the cheerleader, save the world," insinuating that if the cheerleader dies, then there's destruction that is coming. Now, when the sister in Christ had messaged me about that video on TikTok, and we were just talking about New York, something in me was like, look up the city that they talk about in Heroes. And surprise, surprise, y'all, New York is the city that the show talks about being destroyed by a bomb or nuclear blast if the cheerleader is not saved. Then the sister in Christ reminded me that in the end of the movie Leave the World Behind, there is a city that is portrayed that is bombed, and there's a big, massive explosion, and it's New York City. Just another coincidence, I am sure, but this was also recently released in the media, and those flags look oddly similar to what was in Leave the World Behind. So again, this is all alleged. This is just my viewpoint, right? All I'm doing in this video is recognizing similarities, recognizing patterns, recognizing coincidences. Y'all, when I say pray for eyes to see, I mean pray for eyes to see every single day. Because when we understand who runs our world, when we understand what they believe and what they are into, you see this world, when God gives you eyes to see, just plain and simple, you see this world completely different than the majority of the population. This kind of stuff, these articles, they're not just this. This opens up into many other things. And when you continually seek the Lord for his truth, he will open your eyes. He will show you what's going on, and he will give you revelations. He will give you dreams. He will give you visions. He will show you the truth. Now, I'm not saying this is 100% what is coming, that I am 100% right. I could be totally off the mark. I could be totally wrong. I just wanted to make this video as a warning, just in case, because I think that I have pretty strong discernment. I think that I have eyes to see what a lot of others don't. And when those things get confirmed by other sisters in Christ, other brothers in Christ, who do also have eyes to see, you know, this stuff, we cannot take it for face value anymore. We have to understand who runs our world. We have to understand what they believe in order to see what is actually happening, because this is the media, y'all. The media is propaganda. The media is there allegedly, right? Just my opinion. The media is there to force feed you a narrative. It is there to also tell you what is coming without telling you. So the cheerleader just died, right? And according to the show, if you save the cheerleader, then you save the world. We couldn't save the cheerleader. So that is telling us that destruction is coming. And they even tell us in the show what city that destruction is coming to. And isn't it a little coincidental that just a few months, there was articles about men going in and out of manholes in that exact same city? And isn't it also a little coincidental that that exact same city is portrayed at the World Cup with what looks to be, not saying it is, but what looks to be, what could be a massive explosion and also an eclipse? Well, our world is ran by Satanists. Our world is literally a stage full of rituals. Now, God told us all of this is coming. God told us that destruction is coming. They are telling us that exact same truth if you're paying attention.
Okay, I hope that was a important one there. She does a good job. Okay, I got some more short ones coming. This one yesterday. DJ.
Or boys.
Sage, do you think children are always talking to imaginary friends?
I can't remember. I played this one yesterday.
No. My intuitive read is that I wouldn't automatically put every child's imaginary friend into the imagination box. Children seem to live with a much thinner boundary between imagination, intuition, dreams, and ordinary waking reality. Before adults spend years teaching them what is and isn't supposed to exist, they'll sometimes casually describe a person nobody else can see, have conversations with them, give them names, or insist they were somewhere before they were born. Now, some imaginary friends clearly can be extraordinary acts of childhood imagination. But spiritually, I leave the door open that some children may be experiencing something they interpret as another presence, what many traditions would call spirit. And the cases that make my eyebrow go up are when a child repeatedly gives very specific details, the same name, appearance, relationship, or information they seemingly weren't taught, particularly if something can later be independently matched. I wouldn't tell the child, yes, that's definitely a dead person, because adults can accidentally shape children's memories and stories by suggesting answers. Instead, I'd ask neutral questions. Tell me about your friend. What do they say? When do you see them? Then I'd listen without filling in the blanks, because my intuitive feeling is that children aren't necessarily more spiritually powerful than adults. They may simply be less conditioned to immediately dismiss unusual experiences. Perhaps adulthood doesn't always give us greater perception. Sometimes it just gives us a much stricter list of what we're allowed to perceive.
Do you think as you get to an adult, your third eye can close more?
Yes, in the spiritual sense. I think that's a beautiful way of describing what can happen. I don't picture the third eye literally slamming shut as you age. I see it more as the intuitive channel becoming buried under conditioning. A child says, "There's a lady standing beside my bed." An adult says, "There's nobody there." A child says, "I knew that was going to happen." An adult says, "Coincidence." A child feels something strange about a person or place. They're taught, "Don't be silly." Repeat that enough times, and the child learns not necessarily to stop experiencing unusual things, but to stop trusting the experience. Then adulthood piles on constant thinking, phones, stress, responsibilities, fear of judgment, and the need to rationalize everything. The quieter, intuitive signals become harder to notice. So my intuitive read is that what people call opening the third eye may sometimes be less about acquiring a supernatural ability and more about removing layers of noise and remembering how to pay attention again. And perhaps that's why meditation, silence, nature, dreams, and deep creative states feature so heavily in mystical traditions. They don't necessarily give you another eye. They quiet everything that was drowning it out.
Okay, that was yesterday. Dragonfly. All right, I got while you're here, I guess I better play that one from Trisha there next after I share some photos of Mel's page. Hey, Triangle here. Angie, I got Captain Kyle is going to finish the show with the 50 minutes on the last one. I think I only got one more of those. And I got some other photos real quick. Okay, let's go ahead and get the Michigan video from Trisha here. Wait a minute.
Well, I was interested because I couldn't think of another example where you actually had a Democratic candidate who was down at least 4 points. 4 points in a Senate poll in Michigan. And it turns out for this entire century, Abdullah Syed is the only one in a poll that meets CNN standards for publication. This is extremely, extremely, extremely unusual. Abdullah
Thanks for sharing that, Dragonfly. That's the results of the race. Five minutes. Oh. You guys see me now? Was it the video? Okay. I can't believe they took it down. That's weird, Flying Eagle. That's Michigan. Michigan is bad. I got some more photos to share real quick. Thanks for telling me. This is the other day. Two-time champion boxer. You seen this one yet? Flying Eagle, I got a couple photos here. Okay, we'll get back to the videos here. Cats and the chickens she's talking about today. Ah.
I ordered us some takeout from Mexican. Why don't you go pick it up? We'll be fine. Would you still stand with me? Would you stand outside the courthouse for me and wear your Hello Kitty shirts? Would you say it wasn't my fault? Would you blame him? Would you stand with me on TikTok if it were these three little lives? What the fuck is happening?
1717.
Mama. They're safe, baby. They're safe.
So she just did only a couple of them today. Chicken.
Hey guys, so since everybody seemed to like the beauty berry bush information that I gave today, I figured I'd do something on roosters since I can't talk about anything else, because if I cough too loud, I get a community violation. So we're going to talk about roosters. All right, this is French fry right here. So I know, that's okay. So let me tell you something about roosters. You hear people go, "Oh, I had a mean rooster. I had to put him in the crock pot, or I had to unalive him." Don't be a bastard. Okay, I have 5 roosters right now. They're separated because 2 of them are not. But you have to have a dominant one, and he kicks everybody's asses. It gets to be chaotic. It's awful. That's why I got one-eyed Pete. So I'm going to tell you how to handle a rooster that's being aggressive. The first thing that you need to know is that roosters go through the same thing that teenage boys go through, okay? They go through a little puberty stage where the little hormones are all wild and they're real angry at everything, and all they want is their little woman. At that point in time, they're going to try you, okay? They see you as an intruder around their women. If you just have roosters by themselves, you probably would never have a problem. Every time you go around that rooster, you need to make sure that you feed him, give him a special treat or something like that. Start him off when he's very young. It doesn't matter. Little Tricky, who's the Silky, you'll see him later, tried me when he was a little baby. Well, did I kick him across the room to make myself feel real good? No, I did not. There's a way to handle roosters. The second thing you do is you don't ever turn them upside down. Oh, I turned them upside down. He got real calm. No, he didn't get real calm. Their lungs don't expand like ours does. When you turn a chicken upside down, all of their organs land on their air sacs and their lungs, and it starts squeezing them. They cannot breathe. They're not going calm. They're literally dying in your arms. Don't be an asshole, okay? So I have never, the only little rooster I've had try me was a little Tricky. He tried me like once or twice, and that was it. And a little bitty rooster like this big. These big ones are a problem. So here's the deal. You got one trying you. You got him coming at your leg. Don't be kicking on the damn rooster. You reach down, pick him up, okay? You're going to tuck him under your arm. Make sure you've got the wings. You're going to grasp him firmly right through here. This is what I do, so I don't need any critics, okay? That's what I do. Grab his little head very gently, and you're just going to hold his little head near your body, okay? Don't hurt him. Just hold his little head near your body. And then you're going to walk around. You're going to go look at your garden. You're going to go check out the chicken coop. You got to do whatever you got to do. You got to walk around. But what you're doing is you're tucking him under and you're showing him, hey, I'm bigger than you. I'm stronger than you. And I got control of your little ass. Okay? You just hold his head down and walk around. And that's what I do. I've got control of you. I'm bigger than you. Stop it. Hell, I brought him inside before and put Netflix on and sat on the couch and held him. And just held him. We have never had a problem. That's the best advice I can give you on them is to hold them, tuck. You want to hold them very firmly, okay? So them wings don't get out. You don't want them little feet. He's got a little injured leg, so he's got purple spray on him. Another fact for you, since we're doing facts, he's probably just a flop and flap. All this graping that goes on in the chicken coop. All the graping that goes on. Will you stop? Nobody's scraping your ass. I know I'm just going to embarrass you because they don't know this, but just be quiet. It's a chicken fat. Be quiet. Guess what roosters don't have? They're a rooster. Guess what they don't have? That's right. You heard it here first. They don't have that. They've actually got basically the same thing a hen does. And when they get on top to have relations, that's what happens. So where everybody thinks you just running around graping everybody, you're really not graping, are you? We'll talk more about roosters later, guys. I hope you learned a little something there. Also, you might want to keep them a little bit more firmly than I do, unless you want to have their little wings on your face. Say good night. I'll talk to you later. You hate me, don't you?
That was a good one. Okay.
should concern anyone who believes in a free press. It's called AB 2624. It's also been nicknamed the Stop Nick Shirley Act. Here's why it's potentially a very big problem, a constitutional problem. If this act becomes law, California is creating a legal dynamic that could make independent investigation more dangerous to conduct. And the dynamic is actually quite simple. Less scrutiny means less opportunity for discovery. Less opportunity for discovery means less accountability. And less accountability creates an environment where potential corruption can thrive. We don't need to know anyone's motive to understand cause and effect. Proponents of the bill say it's intended to prevent harassment of people working with government-funded immigration organizations. But questions are not harassment. Investigation is not harassment. The truth is not harassment. And sometimes an investigation feels threatening to the person being investigated. Of course it does. If you're doing something you don't want the public to know about, a journalist asking questions is a threat. A camera is a threat. Following the money is a threat. But that's a threat to secrecy, not a threat to safety. There's an enormous difference. You don't have to explicitly ban journalism to suppress journalism either. You simply make investigating legally dangerous enough, expensive enough, uncertain enough that fewer people are willing to do it. That's the chilling effect. That's the dynamic created if AB 2624 becomes law. The First Amendment wasn't written to protect a press that makes government comfortable. It was written to protect a press capable of making government uncomfortable. Because corruption thrives in darkness. Journalism that seeks
Billy
the
Bean
truth
just came out,
turns
okay?
on the light.
I knew
My
it.
friends, we are all anonymous.
God darn it.
California is considering a law that should concern anyone who believes in a free press. It's called AB.
Great. I got to do Captain Kyle, though, too. We got 2 more big ones in place. We better do Captain Kyle now, you guys. We'll get them in and then Billy Bean and see how time is after that. 2 more big videos coming up. Oh, I knew she was going to do that. Yeah, pussy.
I've ever seen to eliminate.
$51. Then we'll get to the second Billy. Get it?
We come to this place all of us, the indescribable feeling we get when we hear the national anthem and stand together stronger than ever before. Under this administration, we're going somewhere we've never been. We aren't just watching history, we're making it. Rebuilding our country better than ever. A country where we don't do heartbreak, we do victory. An America that is safer, more secure, more prosperous. And any setbacks that stand in our way simply makes the comeback that much sweeter. Welcome to the Golden Age.
Well, hello, everybody. Kevin Call here, and welcome to the end game. And we have Robert Kraft in the house, and we have Kelly, and we have a good show for you today. Sorry about the circumstances. I'm being attacked already today. As soon as I started, I got freaking shut down almost, and I almost had to move again. So my house internet's shot today. It was fine. And then it just dies. I love it. It's so wonderful. Just letting people know how wonderful it is. And last night, sorry that they shut down Bossy's internet before we got on. So this has become something pretty regular. So we might have to just switch up days so they don't know us.
Well, yeah.
I'm serious. Because it really gets difficult because they shut us down like right before we start every time. So we might not even announce it sometimes. So they change it, just pop in. So anyway, let's get started. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for today. Lord, I just ask that you watch over each and every one of us as they hear the sound of my voice, Father, that you bring forth the peace that passes all understanding. Lord, I just know that you are at work every single day in all of our behalf. Father, we thank you for allowing us to participate in your plan. Father, continue to give us the discernment that we need to go through this craziness that's happening right now, and this information everywhere, and all of the false information that's being flooded. Father, we just ask that you continually shine a light on the truth and let people's spirit understand and resonate with the truth and throw away those things that are just rubbish. Father, we thank you for it. Lord, we ask that you continually watch out for our military, President Trump, and all the people that you have that are operating within your plan all around the world. Father, we thank you for it. We praise you in Jesus' name.
Amen.
All right. So, Robert, how you doing there, buddy?
I'm good. Busy. A lot of stuff's been happening. There's a lot of positive participation in the instructions that are going out in each county, and that's good because what it's doing is it's showing that that people in these communities want their government to be structured the way that the Constitution said that the government's supposed to be structured, which is not the way it's been functioning.
Absolutely. And so something that you had been sending out that was to basically discredit the Bar Association, the American Bar Association. And then those invitations that were being sent out specifically to go after that accreditation network. And then this week, Trump actually goes after the ABA.
I didn't even know that.
I didn't know about it.
I didn't know until you told me.
And I was like, "Oh my God, you didn't know?" And he's like, "No." And it's like, "So, dude, it's the fruit of the labor. You don't even know your side. What's happening?" So, Kelly, can you bring that up for us?
Actually, I just sent it to you, Captain.
Oh, I don't
you're okay. Let me see if I can find it on my phone.
Let me see if I can get it.
So really, what we're doing is we're not going after the Bar Association as much as we're building a new foundation that they're not invited to. That makes sense.
Yes. And so let me see if I can do a share screen and then go to that. Okay, here we go. Leave virtual camera window, virtual camera. No, that's not what I want to do. I want to share screen. I want to share entire screen. This one. And it's probably going to be crazy until I get to the actual thing. Let me see if that's it. Here, this is it. Okay, can y'all see that? Because I can't see it when I bring it up.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, so here we go. So basically what you're looking at here is, holy smokes, the Trump administration just moved to terminate the ABA status as a law school accreditor. This will be one of the most meaningful changes to open the doors for Americans to steer legal culture towards justice. I mean, this is absolutely crazy, right? So this is the article that was a part of that. and I'll get Kelly to repost it to the channel right now so that people can see it, and then people that are on Rumble or wherever else, you'll have to go to Twitter or to or whatever, and is calling the Trump administration is attacking the association power to accreditate the law schools.
So if you click on that link there, Cap, right there, yeah, that's the article from the Wall Street Journal.
So here we go. So the ABA, the American Bar Association, Trump administration, I have it because I don't have the whole thing with that Wall Street idiots. But
Oh, got a paywall.
yeah, they got a paywall. So that's fine. But the situation is that it's going to bring forth the attention because it's been determined that they were doing nothing but working as a Democrat arm of the Democrat Party. They were doing all of their documents. They were doing all.
Listen to me. Listen to me. Listen to me. Listen to me. Why are you all in such a hurry to buy this? Since I got this.
All of their
I'm sure
papers that were being turned in to, for like amicus briefs and all these other kinds of documents. They were doing them all and all for the Democrats. And so basically, they're about to get exposed and get completely shut down. So this is something that, most people would have never, ever even thought would be possible and is now happening. And so this is something that you guys are actually working towards as well, with exposing the practice of the way the courts have been being bastardized.
Yeah. So once we figured out, what really led it was when I was going through the packet from OAS and reviewing like what qualifies petitioning capacity, and realizing that you have to exhaust the domestic courts before you're able to petition OAS. And that's a requirement. Well, the ABA is who's been running these courts, and they've been running them all as foreign for-profit courts, even though they're supposed to be domestic. They even say domestic. Like when you go to like your divorce court, is actually domestic relations. So it's supposed to be a domestic court, and they're running it as a for-profit court, profiting from the conflict, literally to make money and destabilize the family unit. That's what their job is, and that's what they've been doing, which in my opinion is an act of domestic warfare. So yeah.
And it's funny because I was talking to somebody yesterday, and we were talking about going to battle with the court system. And I have gone through legal battles with the court system for going on close to 20 years, about 7 different cases. And these were all in federal court. Okay, a couple of them started in state court and ended up in federal court because that was the kind of litigation that was being done. And I actually pierced the corporate veil at a corporation, equally, the partners equally and jointly responsible for fraud. Pierce the corporate veil. My attorneys told me there's no way you're going to be able to pierce the corporate veil. We pierced it. I had them both. Then they went into bankruptcy and took the corporation into bankruptcy. They filed bankruptcy personally. This thing just was retarded, right? But the thing with it is that the courts are designed to milk the money out of the system. It's like,
correct.
you go into court, and every two weeks to a month, there's a court hearing for another court hearing for another court hearing, and absolutely nothing is freaking done. All it is just being charged, funded, and then basically put off to another date, right? I used to bitch to Kelly that this thing should have been over. I mean, a couple of them should have been over years earlier, but that were just being drug out by the freaking court. Not even the attorneys, the court was dragging it out. The judge himself and the clerk, and it was just like every time I go, it's just like ching, 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 just rolling the freaking money out of my pocket on attorney's fees, court costs, and blah 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 blah. And that's just ridiculous how they operate.
Well, it's funny because I went through. So here's what happened. So I sent these invites out. It went to the comptroller and the clerk of court for Charlotte County, right? Because we need them there, right? Because they have to hold the record, right?
Right.
And I received their invites back, but I received their invites back with a letter stating that there's no case number. It says if you want to file a new case, blah, 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 blah. Well, I don't need to file a new case. This is a guardianship matter, right? Because we're appointing new guards, which falls to the Declaration of Independence, right?
Right.
And I already had a case in 24 that was with me and Trump to get our national birth certificates in 24 and get get our declared civilly liberated in 24. So we already have a case. So I don't think they realize.
Just attach that case number and move forward.
Right. Attach the case number and move forward. Okay, here we are. Now, because of what you guys did, and you did that, but what I'm doing is I'm not just making it that case. That's the primary case. I'm putting in all the other cases that I have worked on for the last 6 years. The Charlotte County stuff, the stealing of my property from the judge, the deprivation of rights, all that stuff is all going on there as secondary cases to prove that every part of the system was petitioned and every part of the system failed. So here we go. Here's 9 cases, right? Some of them are individual, some of them are domestic relations, some of them are guardianship, some of them are this, that. 9 controversies, all failures. The domestic court system has been exhausted. It is a epic failure, period. So now we're moving to the appointment of new guards. We're done. No more. And that's not to mention the people that have vaults in, once this gets up and running, their cases are going to be able to be attached also because they're attached to the organization. They have their vaults in. So now when they have those cases, they can be attached because they can come through the vault, through the organization and attach to it.
Right. Absolutely.
So there you go. So it lines up perfect. So his request, while his request was probably ha ha ha, he actually opened the door to let us do what we were doing anyways.
Yeah, it's amazing and just how all of this begins to open up and fall into place. Things that we had no idea, and then just continuing down the process, another door opens up and another one opens down the road. And it's just like the floodgate because everything's starting to happen so much faster right now.
Right. Cases was a request to present evidence to a grand jury to prosecute school board. to have a school board indicted. That was denied. And in the case that I brought, I petitioned. I actually got the opposing contracted law firm counsel on, and this is on the transcript, to literally say, now this is child books like pornography and stuff that they were putting in the libraries, right? That was considered child abuse.
Everybody okay in chat? Everybody likes Robert, right? Kyle? Oh, come on. No video again? I don't understand this. How about now? There you go. Well, I guess I can't play Captain Kyle no more. That's the second time. Nope.
Condition. You can easily.
Welcome to Truth by Billy Bean. Today's date,
This is,
August
20
23,
minutes,
2026, time in Texas, about 3 p.m. Some of the things we'll cover: the sun.
They're not giving me not even a warning, fine, yo. They're just doing it off now.
And tree rings. President Trump, gotcha. China stole the 2020 election. And the U.S. gets hit 2 times. And El Said, running for Congress, Senate in Michigan, I believe, his mom worked for Osama bin Laden. And apparently his sister is also well tied in to terrorist contacts and so on. So, yeah. We got those dim socialists. I mean, they're now being very outspoken about their commie ties and their ties to terrorists. So let's get started. So this is very interesting, coming out from YouTube, YouTube Space Weather, formerly suspicious.
Kevin, welcome, sister. First time in chat. Yep. They've been doing this to me for 6 years. I have like 10 other channels and everything, so I don't know if they're going to get me out. They probably would have taken me down by now. So they can't take me down because we got that thing with Trump winning that case. So they just take the videos down, but you don't get it on the news.
Observers.
Thanks for coming in and supporting my channel.
A white paper detailing how tree rings also reflect solar events on the Earth going back in time. But now the assessment is, and I suppose they have enough data that they can collate using AI to bring out that in the past we've seen very strong impacts on the Earth from the sun that happened in much faster periods of time than had been theorized to date. So that's going on. We have this from Benny Johnson. Abdul El Said, and I believe he's running for the Senate in Michigan. His mother, it comes out, worked for Osama bin Laden, raising money. She headed up a group of NGOs, IARA, about 40 globally, that collected money that went to support the Osama bin Laden family and Hamas. And that's tied to Iran. So we see Abdul El Said not only tied to bin Laden, but also to Iran. So that's going on. He currently has a sister who's a prof at the University of Chicago. She goes on TikTok talking about her employer, the University of Chicago, as an overlord, beginning her TikTok video, Allah Akbar, and saying how much she hates America. So the question now is, with all this information coming out, why is the University of Chicago hiring and paying this prof to teach U.S. citizens when she goes on TikTok to say how much she hates America? And it's her mother, too, who worked for the bin Laden and Hamas terrorist groups. So that's going on. We now are hearing, this is from Benny Johnson, that the DOJ is investigating, bringing charges for money laundering against several members of El Said's family. And this includes his mother, his uncle, and his sister. So, yeah. A vote for Said is a vote for terrorism. We have this from 2CTV. So we're seeing UK get hit twice in the last week. One, Iran did a cyber hacking on a UK power plant, we believe maybe in the area of Westminster, and shut it down for 4 days. We're talking about an entire electric power plant being shut down for 4 days, cutting off electricity to that area. And I guess the UK eventually was able to restore.
Elevating your legs helps swollen legs, right? Wrong. What about compression socks? Nope.
The power.
15 minutes.
We're also hearing within the past 24 to 48 hours, another hit to the UK. Russia has pulled their ambassador from London, which affects diplomatic relations with England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, because the UK is supplying Ukraine with long-range missiles. So that's going on. We have this from Stephen Gardner, who did a good interview with Joshua Phillips of Crossroads. I've long consider Joshua Phillips to be an expert on what's going on in China. And we have this. President Trump's very effective economic warfare against both Iran and China is also having major impact on China. We know that China buys, or in the past has bought 80% of Iran oil. I hope the U.S. blockade doesn't let any Iran oil go to China. China did, as I have been putting out since 2020, orchestrate the coup and the U.S., and that was the overthrow of the American citizens' vote for president. We know, and many have believed, that we saw an overthrow of our government in 2020, and that President Trump actually won the presidential election in 2020. Now, concrete information is coming out, including released declassified documents from both the FBI and CIA, including internal emails in the FBI and CIA, the analyst would be told to look for evidence that there's voter fraud. They would do that and find the evidence and give it to their boss. But that information in 2020 never went to President Trump. And from another source I have, in the last couple of months, we've seen historic levels of CIA agents retiring at a level never seen in the agency before. I wonder why. And we have this. So the documents are being released, declassified by President Trump to go to the American people. But hey, don't expect the mainstream media to be putting this information out. It appears that many in the mainstream media are being paid off by the CCP. So that's going on.
So we won.
But what about me?
But what about me? I live in one of the 23 states that still prioritizes.
And Joshua Phillip puts forth he doesn't believe China can survive a two-pronged economic hit by the U.S., depriving China of the oil from Iran and also placing sanctions against China for buying the Iran oil. So that's going on. And we also see, and as I've been putting forth, China is supplying Iran with weapons and intel to kill U.S. Military.
Yep,
and in July, China shipped across Pakistan. And as I've also been saying, I believe Pakistan is a player. Why have they been a mediator? China shipped across Iran 400 missiles via Pakistan to be used to kill U.S. military. And China has also been buying off, we know, mainstream media, journalists, both mainstream and some independents, and that Russia publicly states they will continue to buy sanctioned Iran oil. I say to President Trump, use that U.S. blockade to stop all oil going to China. And regarding the U.S. 2020 presidential election, U.S. intel is now being declassified, which substantiates that this did indeed occur, and also that China is actively buying mainstream and independent journalists to put forth anti-U.S. propaganda, and that in 2020, the U.S. intel agencies, the FBI and CIA, NSA, and more, had concrete proof that China was engaging in voter fraud, but that information did not go to President Trump. So that's going on. And we are seeing now President Trump declassifying FBI and CIA documents that substantiate the voter fraud orchestrated by China as through other countries. But China was the head of the snake and also paid other countries to engage in this voter fraud. And it's coming out that even in 2020, the Chicago Border and Customs Group found evidence of fake mail-in ballots printed by China, fake U.S. driver's license printed by China.
See this part of your prostate right here? I call it the prostate plug, and it's where 2 liters of peas stuck. But
most of which came into the U.S. post office from China, Hong Kong, and South Korea. And it's coming out now that the CCP appears to be fully in control of the South Korea government. And we know that we have tens of thousands of U.S. military now bivouacked in South Korea to defend South Korea. So that's going on. We are hearing about a CC plot via the mainstream media and other organizations such as Black Lives Matter, Antifa, Code Pink, paid off by the CCP to engage in lies and propaganda across America and protest to bring about racial tension in the U.S. and also a color revolution in the U.S. Well, I got this to say about El Said. We ain't buying it. And I don't believe the people in Michigan are going to vote for this nutball.
Nope.
Socialist Democrat. And we see China has had a long-term plan to take over the U.S. going back decades. Some of the things China has been doing is putting fake businesses, tourist businesses, and birth tourist businesses through which China has brought in millions of Chinese to be born in the U.S. and thus be American citizens. Much easier for the CCP to infiltrate the U.S. government and military, not only at the federal level, state level, county, and local. And we're hearing that California has been known within the U.S. intel agencies for years as being a hotbed of CCP control and CCP spies. We have from Anna Paulina Luna that CCP money went to Act Blue, and that Act Blue, a co-founder of the group Act Blue, recently testified before Congress and pleaded the Fifth 25 times, as did the CEO of Act Blue, taking the...
Victor, if you're still here, I got a 30-second clip of the results of the race on Telegram. Someone had it there, so I'm going to play a few more short ones. I got 8-minute Jesse Waters on the data centers.
The Fifth 50 times. All these groups we've been hearing about, and as I've diligently been putting forth, are paid for and given orders by the CCP to destroy America from within. But now we see real evidence coming out that can be used by the DOJ to bring charges. Speaking of California, we saw recently Eric Swalwell. I believe he's a Republican. He had been in the Senate. He was running for governor in California, and he had to resign from the Senate or from the House, whichever he was in. He also had to drop out of the race for governor when it came out that he had been engaged since 2015 in sexual escapades, including rape. But he had also been known in 2015 to have had a sexual relationship with a well-known CCP spy, Christine Fang. And it seems she operated in California, but she also sexually was involved with many California government areas, not only the senator, but the governor and other offices, mayors. And she collected money from the CCP to then sell internships for CCP spies in many California government offices. And we have this,
It's just a small thing, but it can peel 200 eggs per minute. You simply put the eggs inside.
Statement from Joshua Phillip that California has a big CCP spy problem. So finally, we're seeing information and real evidence coming out from government intel agencies who had this information in 2020. We know that China orchestrated the coup we saw in the 2020 presidential election. Other countries involved included Venezuela, Cuba, Iran, Canada, Italy, Serbia, and more. So that's all coming out. We're hearing this from Enforcer today. Ukraine put drones inside Russia to take down another logistics center, a civilian logistics center, Ozone, and that Russia now is prepping for a big mobilization of its military and has been running, according to the Wall Street Journal, exercises. So the Russian military has been practicing. We bring in 1 million more into the Russian military. How are we going to move them around, train them, and feed them? This mobilization is going to include Kaliningrad, an enclave of Russia. And we know Ukraine's hits on Russia have given Russia a real problem with their gasoline and diesel. And we're seeing a problem in the U.S. based on the U.S. Moves against Iran with an increase in the price of gasoline and diesel. U.S. Intel reports today that in some parts of Pennsylvania, diesel is now costing $6 per gallon. Now, I want to put this forth. The U.S. move against Iran has not dramatically impacted in the U.S. the supply of oil and gas. However, big oil has taken advantage of what's going on globally And big oil, while its costs have not gone up, big oil raised the prices for gasoline and diesel. And thank President Trump for the most profitable quarter in U.S. oil history. So I think we, the people, need to bring about strong pushback, not against President Trump, but against big oil. This concludes my update. I love you, and I'll see you soon.
Okay, we got 2 billion there. I'm going to play that 30-second clip and 1 8-minute one, you guys, to make up for the one from Captain Kyle. Yep, Dragonfly, I guess. You're right on.
It has been of this championship, of this country, of everything that makes both of them great. And what a driver we have in Kyle Kirkwood to bring it home for a famous victory. There will only be one winner of the Freedom 250, and how fitting that it's Kyle Kirkwood as the Secretary of Transportation waves the checkered flag. Kyle Kirkwood wins an American on the top step of the podium at the Freedom 250.
Well, that's the first race there. We got 27 and 7, 26. So I'm glad I got to share that. And this is the last one, you guys. 8 minutes. Seven.
Land. And instead of seeing writing on the wall and how the country is turned against data centers, people on Fox News like Jesse Waters are actually doubling down on a bad strategy by just trying to like rename them or something. Take a look.
How do Republicans message this, Jesse?
Rebrand it. And data centers is kind of nerdy. People don't like data. Call them like galaxy castles, right? Something like fresh. Right? Then everybody wants a galaxy castle around town, right?
Yeah.
Right?
I love the pity laugh over there on the 5. Yeah, that's a good joke from the point of view. Like Elon Musk would probably like that. You know what I think is funny about that? Not only that is his literal job is to make comments like that, and that's the best that he has. It's that, and I don't think people question this enough. Why is Jesse Waters automatically on the side of the data centers? I mean, isn't he supposed to represent conservatives, Republicans? Isn't that all libs that are turning down this money, that don't want their land turned into a data center? Plenty of independents and conservatives, even MAGA conservatives, hate these things. But it's not like nobody even questions that obviously Jesse Waters is going to stand with the big business, with the establishment position on this particular issue. There is no chance that he's going to reflect the rising tide of hatred of data centers and AI. There's no chance he's going to take the populist position. Obviously, he's going to take the establishment position, and that's exactly what he did. And so we're going to get to more of the ridiculous comments that Jesse Waters has made. But first, I do want to talk about what I was alluding to in the intro, that people are turning down significant amounts of money. There's one mother-daughter duo in Kentucky that just turned down $26 million. So an unknown company was scooping up Kentucky farmland, and few plots were more valuable than those owned by Delcia Bear and her mother, Ida Huddleston. Together, mother and daughter would collect $26.48 million. All they had to do was sign. At first, the women agreed. Then they discovered what their farmland, the farmland that their family had cultivated for nearly 200 years, would be used for: a 2.2 gigawatt hyperscale data center. That information turned their answer into an easy one. And Bear told the representative, "Kick rocks and don't come back," which I think is badass and maybe makes them my hero of the week. That said, if it was me, I would definitely take the $26 million. I hate AI more than most people. That is a lot of money. So credit to them that they stood, for what they believe in, and also that they have this connection to the land that they've had for the last 200 years. Let's not look into what happened before those 200 years or how their family got the land. Let's just imagine it's all good or whatever. But anyway, they weren't responsible for that. What they are responsible for is what happens with the land now, and they're doing the right thing by telling those data centers to kick rocks. By the way, that $26 million, that is 10 times what the land is basically valued at, or it's believed it's worth a couple $1 million. They could have gotten much more. Some of the other residents in the area have sold, others are refusing, like this mother-daughter duo. And it's not really that surprising that some of them are selling, because a lot of these people are actually struggling. 1 in 4 Maysville residents are living below the poverty line, and the median household income is about $39,000. That's less than half the national figure and nearly 40% below the state's figure. And so they are continuing to fight against the planned data center with full knowledge that they're taking a stand like this could end up with them losing out on a massive payday, probably more than that land will ever be worth, regardless of what they choose to do with it, other than plopping a data center on it. And so credit to them turning down the money, because some things are worth more than money. That said, I did promise more of Jesse Waters. Let's end with this obvious consummate longtime alpha male comparing data centers to a popular sport. Take a look.
Bernie says these things take a lot of water. You know what uses more water than... Everybody hates golf courses. We suck at golf. Do well there. The only people that make money playing golf are professionals. You know what machines make a lot of noise, take a lot of farmland, and kill a lot of wildlife? Wind turbines. How about that, Bernie? You know what's uglier than a data center? The Obama library.
I don't even know what that has to do with it. Man, being a person who just watches the five has got to be a very weird experience if that line actually hits hard for you. But anyway, okay, so golf courses do use a lot of water. That is true. It's because it's grass. Yeah, maintaining public places does take a lot of grass. You know that, like, if you have like a massive park that's like mowed and everything, that also takes water. Look, I understand. I play golf, so I care about this, but municipal golf courses are a public resource, an outdoor, well-maintained area of nature for people in the community to use that has artificially lower prices than it probably would for any other use. Like, if you take it down, it's gonna be filled with condos and stuff like that. Again, I don't get the hatred of it, but anyway, we suck at golf. Speak for yourself, buddy. And also for me, I kind of suck at golf too. Why does he assume that all men suck at golf, by the way? Who have you played with? Hasn't he played with Trump? Is he revealing more about Trump's golf game than we perhaps think? Right? And also, he implied that the only reason you would play a sport is if you could make money at it, that the only people making money are pros. What, does he know what a hobby is? Does he, like, I don't go play golf with Brett and Jordan to make money off of it. I do that because activities like that are what make life worth living. What are Jesse Waters' hobbies at this point? Does he have any? Is he a human at all? He certainly doesn't spend time scripting his jokes, if Galaxy Castles is any indication. Anyway, with that said,
I don't know if that's if he's on our side or not. Did it sound like he was against Jesse Waters? Okay, that's why I don't know. Sorry, guys, on that last video. I didn't know how it sounded like he was an idiot. Put it that way, Maria. First time I listened to him. So, we had a lot of other good stuff. We got 2 Billy Beans and all other stuff. Thanks, Maria. Yeah, so her internet was off. That's why she wasn't on. Yep, George. Now I know not to play him. But welcome, Kevin, coming in the chat. The new name there. Victor. Yep. So, well, another Monday. Another Monday. We're almost September. September, you guys, and the movie's still going. I don't know. One day at a time. That's all we can think of doing, one day. So hope everybody had a good weekend. And yesterday was one of the best shows of the year. Appreciate all the support. Everybody coming back. So I guess I'm not gonna be able to play Captain Kyle no more. That's the second one with Captain Kyle, so I won't be able to play him no more. I'll find some other ones to play. Yep, thanks, Samantha. Everybody. Keep on coming to everything. We gotta stay together. We gotta stay together till the finish. Whatever how long it's gonna be. So 3 o'clock tomorrow, you guys. 3 o'clock. So God bless everybody. Love all. Remember, please hit like. And thanks, mods. Flying go okay. Carol, Lizzie. And yep, welcome everybody. Have a good night, everybody, and a good work week. And hopefully we will get something this week. We are at the end of August. School will be starting after Labor Day, and it's football time. College and the pros starting up. Sports crazy. Favorite time of the year. So, boss, stay safe, stay strong, keep your faith. Never give up. Signing off for Sunday night. Chico Dude, Ariella, Bella. We'll see you all tomorrow about 3 o'clock. Yep, football, basketball, hockey, all those sports there. Coming soon. I thought they were all going to shut down, but they haven't done that yet. All right, you guys, we'll see you tomorrow, if not sooner.